Hey everybody, today we're going to play the game called Roadwarden, developed by Moral Anxiety Studio and published by Assemble Entertainment. On Steam they're having the text. Roadwarden is an illustrated text-based RPG that uses isometric pixel art and combines mechanics borrowed from RPGs, visual novels, adventure games and interactive fiction. I'm excited to try out. It's already starting their mysterious death by banishment, sending an evildoer into the wilderness with only a flint dagger. Alright, quickly going into the settings. I didn't change anything here. I just started the game for the first time. I don't think I need to adjust anything here. Looks good. Yeah, looks good. Let's just start a new game then. Everyone knows to stay away from the wilderness. Most people would never risk a lonely journey. Roadwardens not only accept the struggle, they embrace it. They deliver messages, assist merchants, burn human corpses, and if possible get rid of the beasts and highwaymen. They live on the road, die young or retire early. It's a dangerous job but a respectable one and it pays well. I leave the safety of the city walls. I still have my doubts. I will always have that. But you need to click, I guess, here. Oh wait a second, there's a new text here, right? No, I leave the safety. I better check my bundles. No. This is how you're starting the game, so I will leave the safety of the city walls. Please select the difficulty mode. This choice can be altered later on. Casual for those focused on the story, no time limit, more cash at the start. Some quests are more forgiving. Then there is standard for those familiar with RPGs, 40-day time limit, a regular rule set, and also restrictive for the returning road wardens, 30-day time limit, increased not time damage. I guess I'm going to take the standard one. The wall is still standing. There are no wolves around, no stench of blood. Good signs. This should be the place you're looking for. You were supposed to meet with a group of soldiers, but you hear no voices, no sound of labor, no sounds of labor. This gate is ajar, but the camp isn't safe. It may keep away the goblins and pebblers, but not beast folk nor trolls, and the night is near. Your palfrey breathes heavily. It had a long day. I could just look for another shelter. I need to look around cautiously. I dismount and sneak to the gate. Let's peek inside. I get off the horse and enter the camp briskly. What do I want to take here? I could just look for another shelter. Or I'm just gonna look around cautiously. Considering the noise, you doubt that anyone noticed the clatter of hoofs. The short, dry grasses barely cover the arid soil of this valley, but you may be a minute away from the edge of the sparse woods, which gets denser as they climb up the hills. At best, this trail has a few more years before getting overgrown for good. Hard to believe it's the only route north. I could just look for another shelter. Let's peek inside just a bit. Oh, we just lost a bit of a vitality, I guess. Your heavy boots hit the ground and the pain of the long ride finally catches up with you. You stretch out, bringing your back and legs comfort. All you want now is a table, a decent chair, a nice mug of beer and some warm stew. With any luck, your axe won't be needed here. Approach the gate slowly. Something happened here though. Take care of yourself. If you're hurt or exhausted, some actions won't be available to you. The weaker you are, the higher the chance you'll die in the combat. Oh, okay. And we have 4 heart pieces. You feel well though. If it's a military camp, it doesn't look the part. Plenty of wasted space. The fire pit is cold. 2 people are sitting at the table, tired and disheartened. They're looking in different directions, paying no attention to one another. One of them is holding a cup. After a moment, you notice the quiet humming. You recognize the melody of a light-hearted drinking song from the city harbor. 2 people. This is marked here, so probably a bit easier to see what's going on. I could just look for another shelter, or they don't look like much of a threat. I can enter. Should we say hello? I will try that. It takes them a few breaths to glance in your direction. The first person greets you with a wave of his hand. There are bags under his eyes. His beard is messy, despite a simple shirt. He's wearing durable, decent boots. A mace with a head covered in iron hangs at the side, but he doesn't reach for it. I take a look at the second stall. Just like you, she's wearing a gamson, but hers is a bit loose, as if she took it off a corpse. Her head is shaven, as if she's protecting herself from flesh-eating bugs. Her eyes are very yet kind. She smiles. Considering the squad was sent here half a year ago, these two surely look the part, though there should be more of them. 8, you believe. I let them speak first, or I ask them about their lieutenant. I could do that, even though maybe there is no. You wonder how to phrase the question. Friendly, be supportive and cordial. Playful, use a joke or witty comment. Distanced, hide your emotions. Hint at a threat. Intimidating, okay. Vulnerable, be sad, tired, afraid, or hopeless. Whenever you meet new people, you can influence how they perceive you by selecting one of the attitudes. Interesting. Reminds me a bit of Discolusium. Hint a threat. This is something I would never do. I'm tending between friendly and distanced. I'm gonna be friendly. I was hoping to meet with your lieutenant. Could we talk for a bit? The woman lets out a loud sigh, dusts off her gamson, and steps towards you. She pays little attention to the sword at her side. We most definitely can, you and I. Though holding this rank is still somewhat new to me. Are you messenger? Did you lose your mount? She observes you with a curiosity. Or are you looking for help? I am your new Roadwarden. My horse is waiting outside. Really? The soldier in the shirt leans forward. That explains how you got here in one piece, all by yourself. Better bring your beast here, adds the lieutenant. We have no hay, but I bet it dreams of dropping its saddle. A long pause. I'm Tulia, by the way. She reaches out her hand. I shake her hand. I'm Mimi. It may be a trap. I guess you for her to stop pretending to be embarrassed. I should wash myself first, but you can call me... Yeah, I'll take this one. How do you want people to call you? So Leto is the default one, but my name is Mimi. The lieutenant stands with their hands out, but then raises her arms with an awkward smile. Of course. Just keep your horse away from the tents. She steps away. We don't need to smell its dung. We should also prepare for the night. The soldier in the shirt also rises to his feet. We've no tent to spare. You'll have to use a blanket or something. That's fine. I should get used to sleeping on the ground anyway. No, that's fine. I don't want to sleep on the ground the whole time. You walk through the gate. Your mount looks around and snorts anxiously. Not many humans could ride a horse. It's not only taller than you, but also bulky. As heavy as it is strong. You can get in the saddle within a single breath, but most people wouldn't know where to even begin. From every side, it's a wall of flesh. Horses were brought to the Dragonwoods from the conquest in the south. They can trot for a long time, but won't outrun some of the local monsters. Your palfrey needs you to survive, but without it, you too would be lost. It's my only companion here. I want her to feel at ease. I don't care how it feels, but I need to be strong if I want to travel, and I can't afford another one. It's my only companion here. It takes a few steps toward you, scolding you with another snort. You scratch the bottom of its neck with strength and confidence, just the way it likes it. Humans see useful animals, and even pets, as monsters in disguise. Getting emotionally attached to them is believed to lead humans to their doom. But you know that horses need companionship. I speak to it gently and lead it to the camp. You end up next to the fire pit. Removing the saddle makes the horse nicker with relief. You take a couple of minutes to examine its back, just in case, while the riding equipment is not that heavy for such a strong animal. With enough time, it starts to shave. You wish it had something better to eat than this shabby grass. You should look for an inn. I need to unpack. You haven't brought that many things, and you lost one of the sacks while fleeing the Crimson Corpse Eaters. Worst of all, you have no rope left, but maybe the soldiers could share one? It shouldn't cost more than a dragon bone. Aside from the travel set, you own a few valuable possessions essential for your trade. Fighter, I spent my savings on decent combat equipment. I have a fine gambeson, an axe made of steel, and a reliable crossbow with quarrels. I can be a mage. I have talismans that help me use my powers, as well as an iron axe and a worn gambeson. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that, so I'm sorry if it's not right. I carry writing instruments and alchemical ingredients, as well as an iron axe, a worn gambeson, and a healing potion. Honestly, these two sound really good to me. I want to learn more about the 3 classes. As a fighter, you'll have an easier time in physical challenges, thanks to your superior equipment and a hidden bonus during dice rolls. You'll be physically more capable than the other classes, what opens unique opportunities during some social interactions. It's the best class for RPG beginners. The fighter's weakness is their reliance on physical strength. Your special abilities won't be available to you if your vitality points drop to 0. The mage uses pneuma, a versatile but limited pool of energy points that can be spent to cast a few humble spells. Magic won't protect you better than a sharp axe, but as a mage, you'll be able to heal faster while resting, detect magic in a mysterious area, distract the beast with a simple trick, and find a common tongue with other magic users. Using the mage's power too freely will result in having no pneuma left when you need it the most. The scholar will know more about the world's mysteries than you, helping you take advantage of some unusual situations. Your character will impress the locals with its knowledge, and you'll be able to read the spars, written clues without anyone's assistance. Scholars struggle with combat more than the other classes, but with enough carefulness and exploration, you'll gain access to alchemical mixtures that will help you escape from many dangerous situations. I think I would like to be a mage. You unpack and inspect your belongings. Your water skin isn't pierced. The spare clothes are still here, just in case you take... I've got an inventory now to see my possessions. Oh, this is what I'm owning. Okay, this is my armor, and it's not super strong. Interesting. Okay, and there is actually a time limit. 50 minutes before dusk. Okay. Just in case you take a look at your wooden bowl and mark your cape tinderbox, bandits, food rations, knife. Nothing special or too cumbersome. From time to time, your routine helps you avoid mistakes, but this doesn't make it any more exciting. Taking hits will damage your armor. You can then fix it in various settlements. Alright, let's return to the soldiers then. They are at the table again, observing your beast and chatting between themselves. Your stomach rolls at the sight of the eating out of wooden bowls. One more bowl was put at a previously unused end of the table. You can sit down on a tree log. I join them and take a look at the meal. I thank them for the meal, but I don't want to eat with them. I sit down and ask Tulia what she can tell me about this area. I completely ignore the meal. I sit down and speak to Tulia. I think we should eat something, but I don't want to be rude. Can we just do this whilst eating? Well, I'm gonna talk to Tulia then. She focuses and chooses her words carefully. She looks away, only when she gathers her thoughts. I'm afraid I can tell you less than I would like to, and less than I should. She nods toward the other soldier. As you can see, there is not a lot of us left. At the beginning of summer, there were 8 of us, including our previous lieutenants. 5 are dead. 1 has run away in tears. We're all strangers in this land, adds her companion. Any piece of information may help me to do my job. There is also this statistic now: keeping your stomach full will make you stronger. Starvation won't allow you to restore vitality while resting. You can find your supplies in the inventory. Alright. Then it was good that we ate something. We experienced no penalties and bonuses. Nourishment is okay. Could be better though. The man leans forward. His legs shake nervously. He sounds like a kid asking a bard to sing one more story, tell a joke, or do a magic trick. Whatever it takes to escape from boredom. His untrimmed beard hides a much younger face than you originally thought. What did the officials tell you? I expect not that much. No soul governs these lands. I share what I consider to be relevant. What I've discussed with the officials should stay between me and them. I guess I'll take this one. You think how unprepared you are for this task. Since this area is too far away from Hovlavan, to keep it under control, you were warned that it's untamed and unknown. Who knows how many villages, bandits or monsters may be found in these unmapped hills and forests. It's a place of both danger and opportunity. A great realm to spend the rest of summer. Actually, I'd prefer to keep it that way, says Tulia. The less you tell us, the smaller the chance that the commanders will send us here again. There's bitterness in her brief laughter. I'm fine with a soldier's life, you know. I just hope to find an outpost where I won't have to bid farewell to most people I know. It's understandable. I don't say anything. It's understandable. The lieutenant drinks from a cup and crosses her legs, ankle on knee. Seeing her chair makes her doubt she'll ever find a comfortable position. Where should we start? What should I know about the peninsula? Any ideas what happened to the previous Roadwarden? Probably died. I've lost my robe. Could you spare one? What happened to the squad, to your squad? Today, how did you become a lieutenant? What was your squad's mission? Anything I should know about this camp? If you were me, where would you go next? Before I continue my journey, I need to ask them about the peninsula, the Roadwarden, and the rope. Alright. Let's just start here then. What should I know about the peninsula? I'll tell you what I know, and you'll be the judge, says the lieutenant. How long did it take you to get here from the city? On a decent palfrey? I'd guess it would be 3-4 days. When he confirms, she continues. From here, you can reach the coast in about a day, as long as you don't make any stops. Do you know the situation? Why no ships can get here? You nod. The sea route allows Holovan officials to keep in touch with the coastal villages, collect taxes, move the soldiers, collect lumber, deliver tools, but maintaining order on a wild coast, such as this one, is like filling the ocean depth with coins. Because of the rocks, they can hardly stop a ship 5 miles from the shore, and boats can get much closer. She nods. I don't know much about fishing, but there's not that many people living by the shore, and they don't crave to stay in touch with the city folk. As she pauses, her companion carries on. No soul from the north ever came to the camp, but when we travel to the roadside inn, Pelt of the North, they're happy to cheat and to play dice. Why not just stay at one of the settlements? The man clears his throat. A man, you know. We're to guard this road. This camp is our post. And while he turns toward Tulia, she lowers her voice. Don't take it the wrong way, Mimi, but are you devout soul? Like most city folk, I believe that people should unite their strength to overcome the threats of nature and dark magic. Everyone will be judged for both good and evil deeds. I'm part of the United Church. Okay. For many years, I've supported a monastery that does its best to advance mankind's spiritual growth, artistry, herbalism, and magical research. I follow the teachings of an order of truth. I'm from a small village. For me, the freedom of Shalp, Norma, and Solar are the main virtues of life. My community is unique and independent, and so are its members. I have a place in my fellowship. I have a strong connection to nature and spirits and follow the path of my ancestors. Some of beliefs may be considered sinister and treacherous by the city folk. You probably call me a pagan. There is no evidence of the rites existent, and all the mystical tales are explained by magic. No, I'm not. So, what are we gonna take? I like this one. Everyone will be judged for both good and evil deeds. But I don't like the name, the United Church. So what am I gonna do now? I don't want to be a shaman, dude. For many years I've supported a monastery that does its best to advance mankind's spiritual growth. And that doesn't sound like me. My community is unique. I like this one though. Let's just take that. A fellow unite. The man smiles. Though in this land it won't bring you much good. At least we can discuss the topic freely, adds the lieutenant with a barely visible smile. Let's get into it. The people here are disquieting. Every few words, she taps the table with her finger. Their tradition won't help them negotiate with the officials here. She starts to draw lines with her index finger, as if she's pointing out an invisible map. The peninsula is connected with roads, like a big circle, in the northwest, and you'll find a weird village at a bog. It's not exactly pagan. I don't think it even has a priest who claims to be an eremite. You're not. She means a fellowship. They do crazy shit. Her companion chips in. They use the dead to cut down trees and dig in soil. Once I saw it, I begged to never return there. I see. You've heard tales such as this one since you were a child. If an isolated settlement managed to survive without a city's influence, its customs and traditions grow more and more alien. Every generation learns how to adapt to the dangerous conditions they have to deal with, and the rustic pagan traditions muddy the river of faith. The United Church often warns its members about the crazy druids, necromancers, and blood maids, the bringers of doom, the traitors to humankind. Were you able to speak with these necromancers? And how about the East? Any monsters? Any monster worth mentioning? Anything that could catch my mount? That's all I need to know. We saw all sorts of beasts. The man starts to count on his fingers. Goblins, trents, cat large and small, runners, howlers, wolves, spiked boars, mufflin eaters, griffins. But we managed to stay away. Some could catch up with them with most mounds. Julia glanced at her companion. Though a pelfrey should be fine. The trees are so tall that the flying creatures keep the coast and mountains. There are so many humans around, and the animals are busy fighting among themselves. They fight for food, more for food than territory. The soldier cracks his knuckles. Don't provoke them and ride fast. Just count on luck. Were you able to speak with these necromancers? You can see why we're not eager to go there if we could avoid it. The lieutenant chuckles. Maybe they'll be more welcoming to Roadwarden. The roads are dangerous, with little to no shelters. People need your help. The man in the shirt turns a bit and points a finger to the northwest. If you're heading to the undead village, you'll get to an inn soon. Tulia nods. Belt of the North is a safe place. You can talk with the innkeep or the guards, ask them about the road. And how about the East? About the East? She stares off across the camp. Hard to tell, we went there only once. There are hills, forests, rivers. We saw tunnels sculpted in leaves and branches, but we didn't enter it. Wilderness all around. She nods. I'm afraid we can't do more for you. Any ideas what happened to the previous Roadwarden? Tulia takes a deep breath. Aren't you a bit late for a rescue mission? We haven't heard from him for almost half a year. The soldier speaks for a bit between themselves, trying to get their story straight. They confirmed that he had stopped for their camp a few times, but stopped showing up at all in early summer. The bearded soldier starts to scratch the table with the tip of his knife without looking at you. I don't remember his voice. Always busy, drowning in things to take care of. He would sit somewhere, sharpen his sword, fix his loud mail, clean clothes, write notes on that wax tablet of his. Yep, and leave at dawn. Unlike us, historian never gets bored. Tulia lets out a joyless chuckle. He's secretive, but some of the locals speak about him warmly. Maybe he just doesn't like us. Sounds like you're not sure if he's dead or not. If anyone knows, they won't tell us. Maybe someone is keeping him in a basement. The man coughs with passion. We haven't seen him or his historian. Something ate them, I bet. The officials have hired you, right? They don't expect him to return. Rita Roadwardens often use four-legged, meat-eating saurians as their mounts. They have to be tamed and trained since they're hatching, but unlike horses can easily defend themselves from many monsters, at least your palfrey is fast and reliable and won't suddenly sink its teeth into innocent Persephone. Do you know what he was looking for? Maybe he left you a message? Neither one of us had any insights into the stealing, says Tulia. My predecessor left me no clues. We also took a look at Assyrian's stuff. Wait! She raises her open palm. I almost forgot. She stands up and heads to the nearby tent. He has kids in a village near Havlevin. I was planning to take all his things there. A pouch, a second spear, a decent bow, some potions, quite a treasure. She glances at you. But I would much prefer to bring them the truth about their father. So you want me to find out what happened to him in exchange for the stuff? For his stuff? Here's the catch. She dusts off his hilts of her sword. We've hired a messenger to ask the commanders for further orders since she hasn't returned and you know nothing about her. She either ran away or something happened to her. She sighs with resignation. We're meant to stay here until fall. What do you think? Come see us, tell us what you've learned about the man, and we'll get back to Howlman together. You think about your real mission. You were planning to return to Howlman in the early fall anyway. If he's alive, I don't think he's going to be happy about me taking away all of his possessions. True, but he's considered dead. I doubt he'd begrudge you anything, and who knows, you may just find his shell lying on the roadside tomorrow. He wears mail, he uses a spear, mostly maybe 5 feet tall, but stout, long, red beard, short hair, pale face, rarely smiles. She glances at her companion, but after he nods, he adds nothing. She sits down and stretches out her leg. So, find out what happened to him. Dead, alive, left. Just let me know. I've also got a journal now. It seems like you see the list of quests. Okay. So these are my quests. Find the Roadwarden. Then there are all the humans I've met so far, groups and places, a bestiary. Damn, that's a long list there, and a glossary. Alright, return. I lost my rope. Could you spare one? You're in luck. She heads toward one of the crates and moves aside a large linen sack, revealing a rope. She brings it back and nonchalantly sits down on her chair. Take it. I was planning to leave it behind. I take a closer look. It's a regular rope made of hemp fibers. Taken enough for some food in return. I guess that's the only option. Tulia leans forward and rests her forearm on her thighs, looking down with clasped hands, then meets her eyes. I normally refuse, but we need some decent food. Every day I'm searching through our growths, looking for worms and putridity. We forage, but it's not a great spot. Some food rations will brighten up a foggy day. For now, you leave the rope on the table. What happened to your squad? The man shrugs. Bandits happened. And monsters. A strong band, though his companion chips in. When we got to the peninsula in spring, we saw some people living in this camp. The lieutenant decides to avoid it and look for an inn. We had to travel through the night for a bit. The bearded soldier scoffs and crosses his arms, but she carries on. If he had decided otherwise, we would have all died that day. The innkeeper explained that the camp is a trap, that the armed ones pretend to be soldiers, stay there at night, lose everything you have. Sounds like a slave hunter. Very much so. They killed some and took others away. Who knows where? They were letting the nonetheless go, hoping to avoid their wrath. It kind of worked, adds the soldier. We asked them for help, but they refused, so we had to clear the entire camp on our own, and that's why 3 of our people died. Don't exaggerate. It's not like the lieutenant didn't make any mistake. He wanted to get rid of them and take away the camp, but we didn't know our enemy well enough. We were outnumbered, and they had an ice mage among them. She looks at you. At least we cleared the road, saved lives. You mentioned monsters as well. Nothing that would surprise you. Those of us who survived the skirmish were young, too inexperienced to spend a summer in this place without a good leader. And they didn't trust me. One of them got caught by a trend. Another one ignored my orders to perform some sort of ritual hunt. So werebear, I tore her to her pieces. The last one tried to act tough, didn't tell us that he had cut his hand while cleaning his gamson. She lets out a ghastly chuckle. We had to cut it off, and he was so ashamed that he decided to walk north, find a new life, disappear. Idiot. What a colorful journey. The man tries to drink from his mug, but it's empty. You've made this place safer. Barely. Said Tulia seems tired, and who knows if it was worth the lives and support. Tulia, how did you become a lieutenant? That's not much of a story, honestly. She looks at her hand, which is currently rolling a mug over the table. In the city, there is a strict order of, what should I call it? She exchanged looks with her companion, but he can't help her. Well, leadership succession, I guess. Halloween chief selects commanders, those select lieutenants, and those put their soldiers in order of priority. If a lieutenant dies, they get replaced by the next soldier in line. So you were his successor? Nah, not exactly. When we fought the bandits, our lieutenant was hit by a slingshot. His boyfriend jumped to help him, but failed to protect either of them from a spell. It was like a ball of ice that hung above them and exploded, piercing their heads, completely voiding their shields. Really unpleasant. She pauses. And you were the third one in line, is that right? Jumping like that to save a man in the middle of an attack doesn't sound like a wise decision. I don't want to say that. Basically, yeah, she says without enthusiasm. I didn't plan to become a leader, though. I'll get demoted once we return to the city. I prefer to follow anyway. What was your squad's mission? Anything I should know about this camp? What's the mission? The lieutenant looks into your eyes. You know, the usual, making the road safe, keeping people alive. I explained that it may be important for me to know what they have tried to accomplish. I can't really tell you. Let's just say it would be nice to have a reliable outpost somewhere nearby, a place where you can always find a group of fighters willing to protect you in the name of the law. She tilts her head back. Now, if you have any other questions, should I know something about this camp? The story is brief. Some merchants built the camp to have an extra stop for mules and donkeys, just between the inn and the southern villages. There is plenty of grass here and a pond nearby. When the peninsula grew more dangerous, the camp stood abandoned, from time to time serving as a shelter for travelers. The bandits came here in spring, further paralyzing the exchange of information between the northern and southern settlement. Since these highwaymen are no more, the situation may reverse. Time will tell. You can sleep here wherever you want, the man concludes their tale. Though don't expect to wake up without pain in your back. If you were me, where would you go next? The soldier answers quickly. To the inn, of course. He grabs his empty mug. The one northwest coming from here. If you can't afford the room, the main hall is free of charge. The locals rarely gather there. The northern road is much more traveled, mentions Tulia, but the hunters will tell you about this and that, and you'll have a chance to introduce yourself. The innkeeper can listen and knows many souls. Any tips on how can I make a good first impression on him? She smirks. Avoid cheap jokes. Stick to trade, don't waste his time, show him that you can be relied on. It's getting late. I'm so sorry. It's getting late. We should prepare for the night. I agree, Tulia says with a relief, sighs with a relief. And may you do better than Asterion did. Stay vigilant. She winks at you, shattering the mask of a soldier. Thank you for your help. One more thing, if I can. The bearded man approached you. Can you take the first watch? Splitting time between 3 people makes a great difference. You think for a moment. To fully rest, you need a good sleep. Let's do it. Leave it to me. Fabulous, he pats his shoulder. It should be calm at least before midnight. Wake me up in a few hours or even earlier if anything happens. I nod, I smile. I'm happy to do my part. You go to the barrel and splash water on your face, which makes you even more aware of how much you need a bath. After the night, it will only get worse. Your horse is already napping, still too anxious to lay down. I prepare for my watch. You've got new stats now. Stay tidy to have a better chance to influence others. Oof. You don't stand out from the crowd. You won't get much cleaner without a proper bath. Okay, we should take a bath at some point. Hopefully that's doable. The soldier in the shirt is eager to guide you. Just observe the area. There is plenty of griffins around, though they won't try to jump over the palisade. Probably. Better watch out for the apes. They climb up and carry out any food they can find. And there's this one really loud Virelk that keeps smelling the wall, though it has never tried to get in. He points at a gate. The lieutenant and I will block the entrances. They're quite heavy, so if anyone comes here to looking for shelter, better call us to help you out. And if someone is being chased by wolves or anything, better throw them the rope instead. He scratches his head. If it gets cold, feel free to make a fire, and the best place is on the watchtower. You may want to put a blanket there or something. The watchtower? He gives you a long, puzzled look. Oh, here! He points at the pile of crates. Just climb up the tallest one. You'll have a great view at the northern side. The more dangerous side, and also, I know you're tired after all that riding. He points at the tent at the other side of the camp. I can handle a couple of hours sleeping on the ground if you wish. Go there after me and rest just this once. At least have a pallet inside. Thanks a lot. I walk away and fine. Don't worry about me. Oh, that's kind. You put your blanket on the tallest crate and sit down. The night is warm, but the sporadic summer breeze brings gentle refreshment. From time to time your back aches and you have to force yourself to keep your eyes open. The light of the moon helps you focus on the tall grasses. For most of the time you spot smaller critters and birds, but there are exceptions. At one point you see 3-horned deer trying to challenge one another. Before they clash their antlers, a 2-legged dragonling appears, leading its much smaller offspring. The furry beasts try to intimidate the predators with roars and aggressive head movement. After a few moments, both sides walk away slowly, not willing to risk the fight nor to admit their defeat. I don't let it distract me. I keep looking around. You hear the death screams of distant prey and the mating calls of monkeys. Runners are chasing a grey hare. A group of musk oxen lazily chew the grass, preparing themselves to sleep. A dusk fox is running together with the lynx, making playful screeches. Thankfully, you never have to intervene. You just sit there, watching the not so distant forest, trying to outlast your sleepiness. You can only guess how much time has passed. Once you feel you've had enough, you climb down and go to a tent, waking up the bearded man with just a couple of words. You confirm that nothing important has happened. I gather my things and squeeze into the tent. I use my back as a pillow, put my blankets on the pallet and cover myself with my cloak. Sleeping in a tent is not the stuff of dreams, but it's much welcomed rest. The pallet keeps the cold soil away. The moonlight saves the outside world from the eerie gloom. You listen to your own breath and find a comfortable position. Your job starts tomorrow. I focus on the real goal of my journey. The Merchant Guild wants to take control of this realm. Your wardening duties are secondary. First and foremost, you need to explore the peninsula, learn about the territory, resources and threats, get to know the locals, and if you can, convince them to consider negotiations with Holovan officials and traders. Could the tribes resist the soldiers or be a threat to the priests of the United Church? Are there any forbidden practices that need to be eradicated, such as blood magic, necromancy, robbery, or slavery? At least I have time, 40 days to be exact. I need to be as thorough as I can. Once you finish your reconnaissance, you should speak with Tully and return to Holovan. There you report back to your employers and get your rewards. In the meantime, you have your own goal to pursue. I need to gather some extra coins so I can help a person I care about. I need to gather some extra coins so I can retire early and live in prosperity and safety. If I gather enough connections among the local leaders, I'll use them to become a mayor, player in the merchant guilds. I want to be remembered as the soul who brought peace and order to this realm, a hero. I just want to help people, make those regions safer for the locals and the newcomers alike. I need to find a new life for myself. I have a difficult past, and I want it to be forgotten. I like these two options, but I think I'm going to take this one. Your half-asleep senses are catching the sound of the wild forest. Your instincts keep you alert and anxious. Though the pleasant humid-laden summer air evens it out slowly. You're thinking about your goal, but you need to gather... Oh, we got something here. You can't travel during the night. Press sleep button to rest. Okay. All I can do now is rest. Sleeping in a tent. You can spend the night in a borrowed tent. It's nothing special, but it will protect you from the wild, from the wind and rain, and the ground won't be painfully hard nor cold. Okay. You take a look at your amulets. For most people, they would be nothing more than trash, but you wouldn't sell them for a pouch of dragon bones. You use them to shape Pneuma to your will. With these little mementos, the few spells you're familiar with are far more reliable. Who knows, maybe there is already some power held in them. You look at the old, though clean bandages that remember dozens of herbal balms and wounds. You can put them on your hurting muscles, bruises and scratches, then hum an old song about time, which either heals all wounds or kills us too soon to let us bother with our problems. After a few hours or so, the linen will warm up, confirming it did its job. This 10 may not be much, but your spell would make you feel as good as new, though you'd lose some of your energy. I don't need to restore my Pneuma tonight. I performed the ritual, cost 2 Pneuma. Where can I see how much I have? Oh, this one. I'd rather keep my soul stronger than my shell. Oh, this is some decision making here. Stronger. Okay. Let's see. Choose my own adventure. You're woken up by sunlight, well rested and ready. Oh, I'm starving though. Without haste, you gather your things. After only a couple of breaths, you notice a weird smell like a roast. No burning meat, burning rotten meat. Disgust crawls into your consciousness. You exit the tent. Your horse is looking around nervously. Your bags are where you had left them. You see an open gate. I go outside to see what's happening. Both soldiers are standing near a humble pyre. The man in the shirt looks at it contemplatively. Chile is the first one to dress you. Mimi, she greets you with a nod. We use the horse manure for the flames, so don't worry about cleaning it up. You see a corpse among the flames. It's impossible to tell if it belongs to a male or female, but it was an adult. The burning process won't be over for a couple more hours. A traveler? Or an undead? The latter. A young one. She lacked the Pneuma to understand that she couldn't get inside the camp without climbing. I stabbed her with a spear from a safe distance. She shifts her weight. One more fog, and she'd be a real threat. Even now it took a couple of hits to knock her down. Sooner or later, every human shell wakes up, gaining more strength with each soul it devours and each moment it spends in the fogs. Burning the dead is not just a religious practice, it's a necessity. Soldiers, priests, village mayors, even road wardens. Making a large pyre takes a lot of time, but it saves lives. Tulia calls this undead a she. Most units hesitate to do so. Or units. Time for me to leave. Running away from the rig, huh? I don't blame you. She walks with you for a few steps. Find us here if you need us, or if you learn what happened to Styrian. There's enough ground here for you to rest. Safe travels. These words make you stop. An old farewell, mocked in a number of songs and tales, but yet you hear no scorn in Tulia's voice. You wonder how many acts of kindness like this one you're going to experience in the days to follow. She returns to the pyre. I prepare myself for the journey. You somehow missed the fact that your mount is already settled and warmed up. You double-check the equipment, but you don't need to fix anything. The soldiers were diligent. Normally, preparing any palfrey for a long journey takes a lot of time. You put on your gamson and make sure that your axe is tightly attached to your belt. Then get in the saddle. The palfrey knickers. Ready to leave. It's time for you to get to the crossroads north from here. I need to ride north. That means we're going to travel now. Use the travel button to see the map and above and move to another area. Travel forward. Oh, this is where our journey starts, basically. Travel forward to continue your journey. Once you're done with the north, speak with Tulia to return to Halavan. Travel north. Even at a later hour, you wouldn't expect to meet any travelers in the valley. The warm summer breeze lures your mount forward, but the serene chirping of birds is quickly replaced by the distracting screeches and gurgles coming from further down the path. You soon find the pack of four-legged griffins. They're larger than foxes and merge the features of birds and furred beasts. Each one is of a different size, coat, and colors, and the temperaments are just as varied. Their fronts are covered with vivid feathers, while their rears have darker fur. Their wings are massive, making them impressive jumpers, but they are too heavy to fly. About 24 beasts are yelling, brawling, and chasing each other around, blocking your path. I consider my options. You can't enter the forest blindly. If these or other creatures were to chase after you, the thicket would be disastrous for your horse. There are reasons why travelers stay as close to the main roads as possible and why adventurers move in groups. Usually, the safest approach would be to stay where you are and just wait for the pack to get hungry. It may, however, take up to a couple of hours. You're thinking about your conversation with Tulia. You've got a lot to do, and time may be of the essence. If you have enough Norma, you can cast spells to access unique interactions. It's actually full. We should use that. Or you can use the dice. The dice icon marks the actions that involve a random chance. I take my axe and hurry the horse. If you ride fast enough, you should be fine. I should stay here, better safe than sorry. Since I'm a mage, I would like to do this. To restore Pneuma, you need to rest. Okay. I grab an amulet and shape a missile of light. A harmless flare will frighten them off. It will cost 1 Pneuma. You grab one of your oldest amulets, a pendant made of leather and a single dim pearl. The little sphere is covered by cryptic engravings, but if there is any special meaning behind them, you were never able to find out what it could be. There is also a character sheet now with my abilities. That's nice. Holding the pearl between your fingers, you feel the pleasant familiar warmth. The spell you are about to cast is not much more than a mere illusion, but you take a couple of breaths, trying to minimize any risk of failure. The pneuma leaves your shell, formed into a white ball that you barely comprehend. When it falls next to the griffins, for a couple of blinks it emits dazzling light. The animals squawk and snarl, squeak and snarl, fleeing in multiple directions at once. The road is now clear. I ride forward and enjoy the touch of my pendant. It cools down slowly. Character: Mimi the Roadwarden. After years of practicing with axes and magical amulets to help the local villages and make this region safe for the locals and newcomers alike. So this is the quest, my target for this game. You can choose your own, I guess. You can spend Pneuma to overcome challenges with wands and amulets, healing rituals. Whenever you go to sleep, you can spend Pneuma to restore your vitality. Okay, maybe we should also do this. And I want to get food. I need food. There's also something called faith and lies. Seeing experience and gambling experience. The road splits. According to what the soldiers have told you, you may find a safe inn by turning left. The forest to the right is lush and the trail overgrown. Kids used to have the song. How did it go? The harshest pathway leads to the dragon's lair. Those who search for treasure, do you truly dare? The signpost in front of you doesn't make your situation much clearer. It was put here by someone who can't write, for folks who can't read. covered in old red paint. It points east. Blood there, as people say. Danger to be found. There's not a soul to ask for guidance. I look at my horse. What's its name? It's Lily. Lily's peaceful as you stroke its mane. Maybe it can't help you choose a path, but you've spent many years together. Happy to go on it. It takes a couple of steps forward. You spot a few berry shrubs and wild cabbage, but they still need at least 2 weeks to gain maturity. Time to make a turn. Time to make a turn? Then I can't stay here, right? It's kind of mean giving my horse a name because now I'm gonna get attached to it and I'm not sure if it's gonna survive. Let's explore the east or the west. Lily trots with ease, unbothered by the few branches covering the beaten road. The bird songs and distant holes draw your attention to the forest, which gets sparser and brighter. You spot boars, roe deers, and saurians. The sight of a nearby wolf pack worries you, but once you push your hips forwards and your palfrey enters a canter, the beasts don't even begin a pursuit. The speed alone will protect you from many dangers. You notice a stone tower taller than the trees. It must be the inn I've heard about. I would like to get some food, that would be so nice. Inns like this wouldn't fit the regions traveled by merchants, but you wouldn't expect a place of this size in a forsaken peninsula. The stone and lumber must have been transported from far away, and the workers, guarded by expensive mercenaries, surely lived for many seasons in a primitive hamlet, subsisting on salted supplies. There are seemingly no cracks in the wall, and the building was whitewashed only a few years back. The road is wide and beaten. Dozens of souls could hide, if not in the buildings, then at least in the yards. The expenses and labor put into this fortress were worth many trading ships. 3 armed people are on the ramparts, though you only see what's above their waistline. They're leaning on the parapet, right next to the gate, and you think you notice a glimpse of a smile. They wear gamsons, each of them dyed differently, yellow, green, and linen grey. I approach the gate. A woman in yellow armor leans forward. She has long, curly, disorderly red hair, pointing in every possible direction. This combination of colors doesn't work at all. In the woods, one would have to shout to draw this much attention. There's still a fair distance between the two of you, but she speaks loudly. I haven't seen a horse for years now. I just said that it's weird to see such a large jackass, huh? Her voice is young and strong, with an accent that reminds you of the village spread around Halloween. But no jackass would wear a saddle, I'd say. She exchanged a few words with the male guard, wearing green, giving you time to move closer. Well, this one here says there really are donkey saddles. Say, traveler, how hard is it to ride a horse? I'm just gonna be friendly, I guess. I think I'm gonna be friendly towards her. How about you give it a try? She gasps, seriously, just a moment. She disappears behind the wall, and soon after that, the gate is opened. While you dismount next to the wood splitting spot, a couple of people surround you, pointing at your mount and commenting on its appearance. Though they step away whenever Lily makes a rapid movement. The guard in the yellow armor is the only one who steps forward. She raises her hands, as if to pat your palfrey, but doesn't touch it. It looks smaller from above. She whispers loudly, How do I even get up there? Oh, it's not easy when you lack confidence. Better use a stool, or I can help you. She touches the animal, which pays no attention to her presence. No, I'm really scared. She contradicts her words with a gentle smile and shining eyes. Maybe I should wear something lighter? He nods and engages in a bit of a chit-chat with the entire group, discussing what it takes to take care of a horse. Finally, the red-haired Woman leads you under the roof where your palfrey can rest, tethered with a cord to a wooden post, near some old hay. Once you're ready, go inside, speak with our boss. Maybe you're hungry? Oh, I am. The other guards return to various chores. They peek at your mount every now and then as they're splitting firewood, cleaning their clothes, weeding the garden patches, and moving chairs. 2 of them are making a rope. You head towards the inn, hearing the piercing scream of a boar from the other side of your yard. I open the door. The locked windows make their air stuffy, and the weak fire in the stove hardly lightens up the hall. A muscular man is sweeping the floor near the stairs, but after he glances at you, he leans the broom against the wall and heads behind the counter. You're lucky to show up. His voice is deep and soft. If you're at an inn in the morning, you can spend the entire day on resting. Okay, that's nice. You're lucky to show up. His voice is deep and soft, with a city-like accent. He observes you with keen attention, yet avoids your eyes. I've a keg of decent ale, wormwood, bog myrtle, juniper berries, cat's foot. He fills the mug carefully and puts it on the countertop. It's going to spoil soon. Maybe today, and we don't drink here before the even. I hate to see the good stuff going to waste. His skin is dark, almost purple, rare even among the southern tribes, and his hair is naturally bluish. His clothes are quite fancy for manual labor. The elegant tunic wouldn't stand out in the city square. I stand at the counter. The planks let us creak after every step you make, so you slow down a bit. You could swear that the innkeeper made little to no noise. Here you go. He pushes the mug forward. But just so you know, my pelt of the north doesn't belong to Hollowan. You can sleep on the floor if you wish so, but if you want to have a bed or meal, you have to pay. We may have some leftovers from dinner, but I'd need to check. Thank you. Thanks for the drink. I see you know how to make friends with a Roadwarden. He meets your eyes with a puzzled look, then grabs a wet cloth and starts to wipe down the shelves. From time to time, your conversation is interrupted by splashes of dirty water in a wooden bucket. Well, nothing is truly free. I've worked for a soul of the road, but I don't need a new mouth to babble. He speaks slowly, yet audible. I value my time. You should value yours. I drink the ale, or I'm gonna ignore the ale and tell the man I have a couple of questions. I'm just gonna drink the ale. I don't think he wants to talk to me. The dark room and the wooden walls of the mug make the liquid look as brown as a chestnut. The lean spring hits your nose. The first sip is even too complex, too flowery. While the brewer has used fancy ingredients, the exotic licorice ruins the aftertaste. Now you know why there is so much left. Maybe it takes an acquired taste. The innkeeper nods. I was hoping to see someone willing to patrol the roads. Maybe you'll help me with a boring thought I have. Which is? They're brigands in the woods. Our place is a stronghold, so I'm not afraid of an open strike, but they've got more active in the last 2 years. One day they may steal our furs, and I've no doubt they are the reason why merchants come here only once. Having bandits around gets expensive. He rubs his hands together, camouflaging his paws. I want you to reach Hollersdale, northwest from here. It's the largest settlement around. I'm sure you'll get there sooner or later. Ask Tice, the mayor, about Aglasia, that bloodthirsty wolf of a woman. I've heard rumors about a raid in the north. If Glacia is ready to break the truth with the locals, I'm willing to join forces with them to get rid of her band. He looks at a nearby dragon bone. Not too difficult, right? Just do it when you have a chance. A couple of days won't make much of a difference. I'll pay you 2 coins when you get back with the news, fine? I can say 3, or I'm just gonna nod. Should I be cheeky? I'm gonna be cheeky. He observes you for a moment. 2, he growls. I could eat something. Do you have any leftovers? What do you have for sale? Do you have anything you'd like to buy? Looking for a story in the previous Roadwarden. What can you tell me about the peninsula? I didn't expect to find an inn of the size in a place such as this. About glossy spend. Any rumors worth sharing? That's all I need. I go outside. Do you have any leftovers? Because we're starving. Yes, I feed them to a boar. I won't give them away for nothing. He tells you to wait, then leaves the building for a few minutes and returns with a wooden bucket and a long stick ending with a hook. Go through the gate and turn left. You'll see a bunch of bushes. We need some berries. Bring me a bucket full. You'll be done in half an hour or so. Your horse could use a nap anyway. And I'll prepare something to fill you. The hook is not made of metal or wood. It's a long, curved claw, almost black. I reach for the tools. Half an hour? That's quite a lot for berry picking. I won't do that. Do I look like someone who forages for berries? No, I will do that. The tools are cold, not too heavy. You notice a pair of thick gloves at the bottom of the bucket. The berries are not a problem, the innkeeper smirks. Unlike the snakes, better scare them away with a stick or move them with a hook and protect your hands. The little ones won't eat you, but don't get bitten. I'm sure you know how to be patient. Fine. I'll go right away. Have other questions? I would like to do this though, but I am a bit scared that I can't go, I can't do this anymore, so I'll just go right away, I guess. You step outside. Lily is enjoying some old hay. At this hour, the armorer's workshop is closed. I enter the inn, approach the guards. I go to the well, I go out and forage the berries. Oh, I can go to the inn again, that's good. So what do you have for sale? I can go and pick up a few things for you, some food for your travels to start with, apples, nuts, sausage, not too many at once, but we need to maintain our supplies. I've got an elk fur I don't need. Was caught by a pack of red wolves. Now it's a sleeping spot, just as nice for a wall. An almost untouched bowl of soap, priceless for a traveler. You can tell if he's being sarcastic. Made of fine oak ash, strong, though you should have some better supplies before you start your own bathhouse. After you mention you'd like something more useful on these roads, he looks down. I don't have any blades or armor to spare, but if you pay well, you can take one of our crossbows and a bunch of squirrels, a yew-bow, wool cords, and the trigger needs just a little bit of oil. It's as good as you can get without soaking it in magic. Takes a bit of muzzle to draw, but even a 16-year-old could handle it. I won't sell it cheap, but I'm ready to give a discount to a helpful Ellie. Let me take a look at what you have first. So these are the stuff we can buy. I would like to know how much money I have. I guess this is my money I'm having. This is my food ration, and this is probably the money. I am not quite understanding, but these are the food rations. Maybe we don't need to buy because we're gonna grab some berries, even though it's gonna be dangerous. There's the elk fur, which costs 19, but this is the most expensive one, the crossbow, with 5 quarrels. These are the quarrels you can buy: an oak-based balm that burns skin and on longer contact, a box of soap. Yeah. I don't think I can buy this. No, I don't have enough coins, I think. Yeah, this is probably my coins. I have only 5. Yeah, then we're gonna wait with that. Show me your words. Do you have anything you'd like to buy? Do you have anything you'd like to buy? You pull out some items, but the innkeeper shakes his head. I don't need those, nor could I sell them to anyone. I'd rather make coins than waste them, so bring me something of value. I'm looking for Asterion, the previous Roadwarden. Are you now? He stands up, goes to the table and invites you to sit down with him. I don't think I'm going to be much of help. He rests his elbow on the tabletop and grunts quietly to clear his throat. But I do want you to find him so. When asked about his intentions, he measures his words. Asterion and I made a risky deal. Well, a very promising one. Last time he was here, he took 50 coins, half of the investment. He knocks on the table with a fist, anxiously. If you get my coin, or at least find out what happened to the guy, I'll make sure you won't be disappointed after bringing me the news. Could it be that Asterion stole the coins and ran away? He looks at the window and starts to play with the shutter. I just think his Darren ain't the kind of soul that would do such a thing. For him, it wasn't much of a fortune, and I'd risk saying he had earned my trust. Not only mine. You know, it's easy for Roadwarden to make connections. He always had places to go, things to take care of. He rubs the table with his thumb, as if trying to clean an invisible stain. I've asked travelers. I've sent a couple of my pals to find him. No real news. I know he stayed in White Marshes for a day and was meant to do something for the people there. It's a village in the northwest. Just stay on the main road until you reach the bogs, then enter them. You may get there before dusk. So, let me know once you find anything, and we may yet return to this whole investment thing. I'll think about it. What can you tell me about the peninsula? What could I say? What could anyone say? This place doesn't even have a name, unless there's an old book in an archive that no soul knows about. You know, what I'd call everything from here to the coast, the hunting ground. He glances at your eyes. But it's not as us who hunt keep that in heart, but the beast in all shapes and forms. His words gain confidence slowly, which is strengthened by his deep voice. I've lived in this inn for over 10 years now, and I've only seen a couple of roads, a couple of places. Just once you get here and you see how harsh it is to hit the road, you have only more reasons to stay at the warm stove behind a wall, even if it's suffocating. He looks toward the window. I'm sure you've heard a lot already. That's the people don't build hamlets anymore. There are no more Ibex from the south, and the traders stay for only a few days. All of our iron is used for cauldrons, not swords or tools. What will I find traveling west? Are the eastern roads as rough as I've heard? Have you ever been to the northern coast? That's all I need. Well, there are hills nearby. Then you find a village, maybe an hour away from here. It was destroyed by beasts almost a decade ago. Nothing to see there. The goblins live there now, so most people just travel around it, and they say it's haunted, but who knows, who cares? He crossed his arms and starts to sway back and forth, gathering his thoughts. You get to a large tree on the edge of the swamp. For the locals, it's sacred. You're not used to hearing someone mentioning patrons as if there's nothing unusual about them. There's a small path south, which leads to an old mine in the mountains. Nothing to find there. But keep riding north and you'll find Howler's Dell, set a clean brook. Farmers live there and Mufflins and Druids. They let you stay for a night, but they're not cheap. If anyone thinks my prices are bad, it means they ain't been to the A-Bale Inn yet. He lets out a gentle smile. I nod. I know only a bit about the next settlement, Old Pagos. The soil there ain't too fertile, so they work in their quarry and help other settlements build things in exchange for crops. The forest and hills ain't too harsh, but the seekers have a small monastery nearby in the mountains. I don't care much about them. They keep to themselves and they don't pay well. The third village is unknown to me. White Marsh, set at the box. I've heard it smells like a griffin's lair. I've heard a lot of the nasty rumors about the place, but I won't share them. I don't want to be a lie spreader. So 3 villages really. Howlers, the one near the monastery, whatever it's called, and Marshes. Don't let their bats and palisades fool you though. Weird people live there. Don't tell them more than you need to. You wonder if it's something you would tell other travelers as well. I wonder if I should write this down, to be honest. Seems like important information. But then I really wonder if he's just telling me, if he's telling this to everyone. Are the eastern roads as rough as I've heard? Pretty much. Don't leave the main road, I'd say. Not so far from here you'll find an old dolmen. A few of my people had to spend the night there, and monkeys stole food and gods from their bags. It was their fault. One of them had fallen asleep in the middle of the watch, but you know. The eastern forests are wild. The roads are rough. Almost no soul lives there. One day all these roads will be swallowed by the trees again. The furthest my team has ever gone was the home of the Enchantress. Just stay on check until you reach the crossroads, right near an abandoned watchtower. From there, turn east. You recognize the place. It's a nice home in a lonely meadow, surrounded by a wall. He looks toward the closed window, then at you again. Kind of like our walls, but simpler, without coating. She lives as a hermit, Eudocia. I don't even know how she survives there, but if you don't have decent coin, you won't find much there. So back to the crossroads. If you turn left instead, you'll see a road. People stay away from it. It connects the tower and the monastery, a shortcut between the two sides of the peninsula. I was warned by the locals not to use it. It already belongs to the beasts. And have you ever been to the northern coast? I only know about another inn. It's far from here, maybe a day on foot, a bit less from the eastern side. His eyes once again focus on the floor. I've never been there, but I've heard it's a safe place, close to villages of fishers and hunters, though I don't know much about them. That's all I need. I didn't expect to find an inn of this size in a place such as this. So you know a thing or two after all. His mocking tone is soon replaced with a gentle smile. It was built long before we arrived. It didn't work out well for the previous owners. Once the war ended, they left. Not enough travelers, bad trade, the village stuck to themselves. We, however, came prepared, and now we're prospering. When you ask him how they can afford all the supplies, he runs his fingers through his dark hair. I'm not against running an inn, but we don't rely on guests. We're the ones doing all the trading. My hunters are a clever bunch and stay safe in the forest. In exchange for furs, claws and bones, we get what we need and more, both from the south and the north. He relaxes in his chair. We have good life here. We spend a whole lot on armor, crossbows, lumber, spears, but in another 10, maybe 20 years, we'll have enough savings to move to Holovan and not work for another day off our lives. We take risk, but smartly. The team is stronger than ever, and I have big plans for us. It's surprising to find a purple-skinned man so far in the north. Should I say that? Is there a good story behind the inn's name? I mean, there's a story, but not a good one. He clears his throat. For years, I wanted to have an inn called Pelt, but in my city it would be in bad taste. Taverns and inns named with a single word were cheap, had a nasty reputation. There was the Claw, and Mugger, Basilisk, and Blissful. I think the good places used at least 2 words. Empty barrel, a rose and a helmet, Empress smile. Pig head was the exception, it was a real dive. He chuckled. In my soul, it is still just a pelt. Pelts are what we came here for and what will make us reach our goals. It's surprising to find a purple-skinned man so far in the north. I ain't seen a soul looking like this since my ma died. He shrugs. It's not a fascinating tale. Let's just say I wasn't part of the invasion. Yet I'm glad it freed all those who were chained by the cities and their corsairs. He looks at the wall. I'm Lazen, by the way, but I rarely hear the name. About Glacius' band, he freezes, observing your hands silently. He wants me to get the answers from the mayor of the Holersdale. I'm on it. Any rumors worth sharing? He crossed his arms. I don't like to talk about people who ain't nearby. Show me first that you're someone worth changing habit for. All right, then we should go outside now. I go to the well. I should go outside and forage for berries. What's gonna happen when we're going to the well? The recently renovated wooden roof covers the well from rain and birds. One of the guards is enjoying the cold drink he drew with a bucket and tells you to use as much water as is necessary. You need at least 1 piece of bathing equipment to get more out of this place. Okay. I won't get any cleaner here. My clothes need washing and step away. Then we should probably also get this. But let's try to get the berries first. I'm excited. The innkeeper knew what he was talking about. You put on the gloves and look through the bushes from a safe distance. It doesn't take long before you notice the first serpent lying on a rock somewhere in the thicket. The creatures are not that large, and even some of them hiss at you or slither closer. The jabs of the hook keep them at a distance. You don't know much about these berries. They're round and reddish. You wouldn't trust such a color even if you were looking for food in the wilderness. The plants don't have thorns, but the leaves are harsh, so you make sure to thoroughly cover your skin. With clothes, you have to look through many bushes to fill the bucket, but the presence of insects and snakes doesn't allow you to relax. I gather the berries and go back to the inn. You've returned to the courtyard. Two of the guards are participating in a friendly skirmish. Their wrestling is accompanied by a crowd. I enter the inn. I put his fruits on the counter. Something bothering you? Great, he peeks inside the bucket. I've got cabbage stew with a few goose chunks for you. I'd serve it even to merchants if there were any around. The meal is warm and filling. It's well seasoned and not overcooked. Oh, look at that. Looks good. And like I've said, I rarely have food to spare, but feel free to ask if you ever stop by. You may be lucky, and I've been cooking my whole life. Thank you. And how did that old hook of mine work out for you? I see you still have your hands. I've given him the hook. I'm fine. I like to buy it from you. I've lost it. Oh, you can lie here. I'm gonna give it back. I'm fine. He takes the tools from you and nods. Need anything else? What about the wares? We should probably get some soap, right? This one? You add the soap to your travel set. Nice. He doesn't trust me enough to share any gossip. Still doesn't. Okay, we need to get more information then. Alright, let's go to the well. The oak ash soap you own can help you get cleaner. I wash my shell. They're also not talking about their body, it's always their shell. Splashing yourself with cold water from a bucket won't take away your smell, but it's enough to remove the tallow and sweat from your skin or mud stains from your clothes. I step away. We could approach the guards again. The woman in yellow armor is kneeling next to the brown hairy boar, which is resting on its side. The beast is not as large as the dark ones from the forest. It responds to the touch of the human's hand and brushed with grateful grunting and rapid twitches of a hind tooth. No matter how friendly it appears, it's still tethered to the well, and you have no doubts that its charge would leave Lily dead in a breath. When the woman notices you, she steps forward to the boar's disappointment. So, the new Roadwarden? She points at a window with her chin, forestalling the question. We don't need anything now, but when we travel with our furs, we can use some assistance. She may be around thirsty, but a warm voice and bright smile are camouflaging the touch of time on her unpowdered face. Like many red-haired people with freckles, her skin is unhealthily pale. The boar runs up to her, observing your boots and fruitlessly sniffing for food beneath the beaten ground. She pats its back, but mountains her focus. How about a game or two? We have a bit of time and can talk a bit about this and that. Maybe you'll get a couple of coins. Or lose one. She winks. We could play dice or throw axes at a target. Sure, let's play some dice or axe throwing. Show me what you've got. I don't really have time. I don't gamble. I mean, I am also usually not gambling. Especially when we don't have much money. But I want to see, kind of want to see how this is working. But it's kind of showing me also the dice. So everything's probably luck based. Your rival, and especially the dragon bone you pull out, are cheerfully welcomed. Two of the guards bring a table from the inn. Another one prepares a couple of stools and chairs. They're also spectators, and you're told that the other hunters are either sleeping or have a duty on the tower. Remember, no magic, says one of the players. His face is deadly serious. The game is new to you, but in no way baffling. 4 people can play at once. The wooden dice are long with only 4 dotted faces. Every time someone wins a round, they get a point, and the person with the most points at the end of the game wins all the coins. As you play, you don't feel like you have much control over the results. I blend in with the group. You share casual jokes, memories, and views on luck and optimal strategies. Lily and Tulia's camp are also brought up, but when you ask about the roads or the locals, their stories are vague. The drinks are here. It's a port beer made from the leftovers after their regular brewing. It's cold, sweet, and doesn't reach your head. But you try to avoid the smell. Just don't spill anything. The boar may get sick, says your bold opponent. In just a few minutes, you get 2 points, which are now represented by smooth pebbles. You don't really know how you got them. Either you don't get the strategy or just pure luck. Let's see how lucky I am. Your score is second best. Nice one. You hear from the man with a fancily braided beard who reaches to pick up your dragon bone. As the table and the chairs are carried back into the building, the guard in yellow armor looks at you with a smile. Have you ever been at the heart of the woods? Tell me about yourself. I was foraging for berries for the innkeep. I have some questions about this place. She chuckled. So I've heard. Don't worry about it. Usually we forage by ourselves, but he wouldn't ask you for a dragon for a meal. He gives small jobs to people all the time just to see who agrees to do them. Wants to judge who's self-use and who's too proud of their own good. Interesting. Have you ever been at the heart of the woods? We sometimes hunt south from here. There are good hunting grounds in the western half. The second one is too overgrown. Maybe the soil is different? She shrugs, then moves the hair away from her forehead. But it's a risky spot. There are trends here or there and wolves, even the furless ones. And you have to go through the tall grasses. Watch out for what's on the ground. There ain't many arches on the trees. She smiles as if it's a joke. But there are all too many worms, even larger than a water leech. Tell me about yourself. Oh, what was that? After a brief giggle, her voice gets cold and serious. Nah, Roadwarden, we use names and stories among friends. You ain't one. Don't make me tempt curses. I have some questions about this place. Not much to tell, honestly. There are many beasts around, both wild game and dangerous monsters. We spend our time surrounded by these vaults, leaving only to hunt, forage, or trade. That's an unusual tower. I'd expect it to be closer to the gate and shorter. Any interesting creatures living nearby? Your group seems to be quite attached to this boar. What do you usually hunt for? What can I find north from here? Have you heard anything about the necromancers? Let's start with the first one. Like in Howloven? Fair, but it ain't here to protect the gates. The stronghold was built long before we moved in, not to fight off humans. The tower was meant to be used by those who observe the deep forest. We'll look out for fires, dragons, any winged creatures that are looking to roost on the roof. Baldly, she nods toward a man who indeed is completely bald, has a great eye, and sees well even in darkness. Any interesting creatures living nearby? Ha! Here? Everything lives here. She flips her hair. I swear, we saw a few dragons, a unicorn family, a battle between trolls and goblins, phased two beastmen. Oh, and a gargoyle? And a hunting queen shouts all the time. I could tell you all about them, but I won't. She winks and pats the boar on its head. You know, hunters have their secrets. Your group seems to be quite attached to this boar. How could you not be? She crouches and raises the boar's head, but it steps away and squeals as if someone's murdering it. It came with us from the city, just in case. We had no clue how our first winter would go, so we needed some backup meat, and it works too. Cleans the dirt. She reaches out to the beast again, but it trots away. The woman straightens up with a pleased sigh. We haven't needed to eat it so far, but it's also funny. I learned in my home village that the farm boars are getting a bit smaller and more cuddly, kind of like ibexes, so it's not such a wild, dangerous beast, but we don't let it get close to the animals or children. What do you usually hunt for? Oh, anything we can eat or sell. If there is podridge, a squirrel or a rat, we don't complain, but when we move as a group, we look for something larger. Deers and aurochs are delicious, but we don't always look for taste alone. There's valiant bones, antlers, claws, tusks, things people use to make tools or sculptures. We use some of them to make tools and spears. We can never have enough spears. She pauses and looks at a strand of her hair, then suddenly speaks up again. And we look for furs, of course. What can I find north from here? I'm sorry, we don't really go, though, to these regions, those regions. We stay close to home, only sometimes move south or west to Haldorsdale, but only to trade. They're fine with buying more and more than they need, since they then take wares to the coast. She takes a long breath, twirling her hair and gathering her thoughts. You know what? I've never ever seen a beach, and I've been living here for how many? More than 10 years now. She giggles. The only part of the sea I've seen was from Old Pagos, which is placed on a hill. I've never put a toe in salt water. She looks towards another huntress, which confirms that her experience is the same. But Old Pagos is a good place, as long as you don't mock their order and act nice. They'll also be kind. Boss says you're too serious for him to stand them, but at least they don't bite without a reason. What about the necromancers? It's something new. Her voice lowers to whisper, I've never been to White Marsh, but over the years, we've seen people moving away from here south. They told us that the place has changed too much. A priest died, I think. And the new ones awakens the dead. Sorry, Roadwarden, that's all I know. She's hiding something. She sounds convincing. Thanks. I'm looking for knowledge about wild creatures. Well, I told you your knowledge is valuable. I don't know. She looks at the boar, which seems to be obsessed with a clump of grass growing next to the wall. 15 dragons, no less. Is there any discount for friends? Well, depending on the friend, she gives you a radiant smile. Let's say 14. If it's too much for you, maybe ask me after you spend some time around, show us what you're capable of, or play dice with us when you have an hour to spare. These folks here? She starts to whisper and points with her thumb at the guards behind. They crave gossip. Alright, never mind then. Let's walk away. Approach the guards. Did we talk to them? I'm looking for knowledge about the creatures. I see. You know how it is, Mimi. For you, it's 14. Okay. All right. I guess it's time to travel again. What about west now? Because they said east is a bit dangerous, right? The road uphill meanders, slowing you down and forcing you to pay close attention not only to the shadows of the trees, but also to the tight, rocky passages. You can't help but notice a few caves and fine ambush spots. I keep an eye out for any sign of life. Standing in front of the gate, we've got a new entry, the ruined village. Standing in front of the gate, you hear no voices, no tools at work, no steps. Dozens of birds live among the collapsed roofs. Their fluttering, singing, and squawking is free of worries. If you want to travel any further, you need to ride around the palisade. Searching the ruins may take a lot of time. The broken gate in the north will lead you to the village. The sound of gentle river reaches you from the east, where you see a saggy fence surrounding an overgrown pasture. Behind the burnt building in the east, you see an oddly barren field. Approach the building near the field, take a closer to the gate, or move forward. Let's go to the building. The broken logs and planks are charred, while the wooden walls are rotten and covered in moss. You see no ashes or dust, proving that the fire happened long ago. The smell is awful and there are no reasons to stay for long. You see no furniture, just some broken shelves. It was just a storage room. The valuable odds and ends were already taken by the scavengers. I take a closer look at the gates. The palisade is in good shape, and the entrance wasn't even touched by the fire. It was torn away, possibly thrown. The amount of used force must have been huge, but you'd expect that it would push the gate into the village, not even from it. You don't see any marks of a dragon bite. A troll could toss such planks, but after so many years, you see no paw prints. A mage? Can't really tell. Where do you want to go? I explore the southwest part of the village. The buildings, some of which have collapsed, are made of wood, nurtured and rotten. You spot claw marks in the wall, especially close to the doors and window frames. They could have belonged to a dragonling, or a large wolf larger than the grey ones, or a corpse eater. Too many options to make a guess. Yet no beast remains inside. You find the remains of clothes, furniture, odds and ends. Only one object seemed to be of use, a basket-like fish trap made of vines and willow branches. If a large fish swims into it, it won't be able to get out on its own. It's quite large, but I can fit it in on my saddle. You feel a slight aching in your stomach. Where do you want to go? Inspect the palisade in the west. Didn't we do that? No, we didn't. Oh, you can also see this here. you're kind of discovering the map. The tracks of human footwear and many, many more ape footprints cover the path formed around the Palisades breach. As far as you can tell, the freshest footprints lead to the village. The wooden stakes spread on the ground are rotten, covered in mushrooms and small flowers, insects and worms, a good source of animal or goblin food, though you'd expect them to also hunt for the birds and eggs. The meadow in the west turns into forest quickly. The grasses in the north surround dozens of the tree stumps, already covered with moss and fungi. I shouldn't enter the forest, especially not in this area. It's unpredictable. Let's go to the west. The meadow is lush and colorful, and so dense it's unsafe for a rider. For a couple of minutes you lead Lily with a rope, avoiding the potential disaster in case of a hoof falling into an animal den. Being forced to travel around the palisade every time you get here is going to be a pain. Most of the tree trunks look similar and have a comparable size. They were most likely planted with the sole purpose of being cut down and used by the locals, though cutting so many trees at once, that alone could provoke the wrath of the herds. Such a process should be spread across the top couple of seasons, and you can't be sure that was the case. In the west and north, the clearing turns into wild forest. In the east, you see a road leading north. I'll leave the clearing. I'll go to the road leading north from the village. You're at the closed northern gate. The neglected road is portentiously overgrown. You're a river in the east, separated by the lush meadow filled with crickets and rodents. I'd take a closer look at the gate. Pushed or pulled, it doesn't move an inch. Someone has spread dirt and rocks both underneath and around it, seeming to keep the plant stuck in the ground. I want to open it. You take a look at the other side to be sure it's even possible, especially since it may take a couple of hours without proper tools. Then I will go somewhere else. I'm heading to the river. You see a squinching family of boars, some of them brown, some black. You consider turning back, but they pay you little attention. After a couple of grunts, they run north. The river is not too wide, yet unusually deep, with banks altered by the locals for decades, if not centuries. The water is cold and clean, yet filled with long plants growing from the bottom. You would rather avoid jumping inside or drinking from it, but you are tempted to at least wash your face, neck and hands. Dozens, if not hundreds of small fish are looking for tasty leaves, but also try to avoid the predators. A dance of life, completely unaware of their presence. You suddenly realize there is something else buried among the kelp, a rusty sickle sticking out the ground, a couple of stone axes and hoes. The wooden handles in a large wagon are covered with moss, but you recognize their shape. Why would someone drop them here? On the opposite bank, the meadow turns into a thick forest, impenetrable for a rider. I turn back. I consider washing myself in the river. The living stream, filled with fishing plants, won't help much. The Ogosh soap you own can help you get cleaner. You need 3 pieces of bathing equipment to get more out of this place. Oh, okay. Well, that's unfortunate. I'll spend some time setting up a fish trap at the bank. You place the basket on the ground, then grab a bowl and start digging, looking for a few larger worms. You bait the stick and push it inside the basket, locking it between the sides, then cover the entrance with a lid. Tying it together takes you a few good moments, but will be easier later on. You attach the entire trap to a bush and push it into the stream, far enough that it sinks entirely. Who knows how long it will take before something large enough swims inside. Still, it would be better not to wait for too long, otherwise the prey may die of hunger. I can inspect the fish trap tomorrow or later. Alright, explore the northwest part of the village. The colorful grass covers the entire fenced pasture. The large stone placed in the middle suggests it could be playground for ibexes, or maybe it's just an old garden. You see a couple of small sheds, a latrine, and a single building to the south, completely burned down. All of these places were cleaned out by scavengers. Lily doesn't want to approach the large ruins in the north. The terrible stench of feces and rotting food scares you off as well. The paths are covered with goblin footprints. It's daytime, so the pack should be asleep. If the beasts were active, they would try to scare you off or to hunt down your mount. This is their territory, and once they wake up, you will face a furious enemy. I go somewhere else, quietly. I want to look around the northern gate. Did we do that? No. The paths here have almost been reclaimed by grasses. To your east and west, you see shadowy alleys behind damaged buildings, while the path south leads to the main square. Approach the nearby tree. You don't find anything worth picking. The half-dead quinces have maggots crawling under their skin. Ugh. You wonder which part of this meal is more tempting for the dark-winged birds sitting among the branches, the flesh of the fruits or of the worms. Quinces are rarely eaten without having a chance to blood. You can safely guess that they were meant to be dried or to add taste to cookies or hard drinks. After a few moments, you realize that the bottom part of the tree just above the ground is partially charred. Someone must have posed a torch here, but the wet wood didn't burst into flames. I look into the well. It's filled up with soil, and you find nothing interesting about the area around it. I want to open the gate. It may take a couple of hours, especially without... Oh yeah, I do it anyway. I go somewhere else. The closer you are to the village, and the longer you stay around, the sicker you feel. The taste of gastric juices hits your mouth, your forehead hurts, you start to stumble. Lillyward by the side pokes your head with its nose. I walk away from the walls. Have to remain strong. I push through the illness. I wonder what's going on here. I'm gonna push through the illness. That was bad! After another few steps, you turn whatever was left in your stomach, going through a lot of pain. Spend a minute or so leaned forward, gathering your breath, then wipe your mouth. You feel better. Oh no, I puked! And I made myself a bit dirty. Oh, that was bad. I straighten up, but we're not gonna load. Where do you want to go? Explore the northeast part of the village. The debris was partially moved outside of the destroyed houses, but you find nothing of value. The cable, cupboards, shelves, and bits and pieces were carefully ransacked. The wildly growing vegetables and herbs are the only remnants of the abandoned gardens. You spot fresh human footprints at the entrance of the latrine, most of which leads to and from the center of the village. You notice a set of simple tools leaned against a pile of rubble. A wooden spade and a shovel, a pointed stick, a hoe with a bow and hat, a stone axe, and all of them are too old and too awkward to bother with transporting them around, but you know where to find them if you need them in the future. Good to know. I go to the main square. In every village, the main square is the fanciest area, meant to charm the travelers. Yet, this is way more than you expected. The houses are as big as in Howlevin, and the paved ground took a lot of work and materials. The walls, now charred and riddled with holes, are made of an expensive coated wattle. The tiles for the roofs also had to be brought here from the different settlement. You peek inside the 3 smaller buildings, the rotting remains of their former splendor. The birds living in dozens of nests respond to your arrival with quite a commotion. You don't find even a single dragon bone, nor a tool or a piece of furniture left unbroken or unrotten. You are surrounded by bad smells, dirt, animal droppings, and garbage. The well also stinks. There's no bucket, but you'd be afraid to use it anyway. Who knows how many birds have relived themselves inside, or how many old rats have found their death while climbing up the walls. Suddenly, you hear some sounds coming from the largest building. Your stomach makes you let out a painful groan. I should check it out. I prepare my eggs. I should walk away. I'm so curious though. Let's do it. Oh, we met someone. You step cautiously toward the scent of urine and sweat. The flickering candlelight shows you broken furniture, so yet no signs of burnt wood. You consider pulling the other door when a masculine voice proves that your presence is not unnoticed. I didn't want it to come to this. Best stay where you are. Whatever you put inside, be it a shoe or hand or a damn thinker, it'll get a bolt. Playful, distant, hide your emotions maybe. Into threats? No. I'm gonna hide my emotions here a bit. I'm the new Roadwarden. Let's talk. A short pause. Well, we can talk, we can. But how is that they chose this place to visit from all that there are? It goes on before you respond. It may be you're telling the truth, so let's say this. My little ballista here is out bolt and ready, but you won't be on anything stupid, right? No running, no jumping around. Show your hands. The man's voice lacks confidence, and his accent is tricky for you. It could be from the distant south, but as long as you don't speak too quickly, you understand one another. You don't hear any other movements, breathing, voices. You lean your axe against the door frame and make sure that your knife is well hidden. I walk inside. The dense smell of urine hits you with full force, while the tools and utensils are hard to distinguish from the rubbish. The route to the upper floor is blocked by the collapsed roof and loose wooden beams. There are scraps of rusting iron and steel on the ground, detached from now destroyed barrels. The scavenger is sitting on a blanket in front of the tent, pointing at the floor with his loaded crossbow. Not a short man, though a bit skinny. He's tanned, dark-haired, and has seen his share of struggles. There are long claw scars on his left cheek, and another one that would divide his eyebrow, and half of it hadn't been consumed by a fire, just like the rest of his forehead. His clothes are untainted by vanity. He's barefoot in a dirty linen shirt with rolled up sleeves and simple pants that use a cord for a belt. His long beard and hair are untrimmed and tangled. I sit on the stairs with raised hands. I'm not a threat. I stand near the door, watching his weapons. I'm prepared. He follows your gaze. Not a good way to make the air warm, eh? I try to be safe, that's all. I can't let you stay in my shelter. You better ride ahead. I already piled up whatever hasn't rotten. The candlelights are dancing on his burnt face and arms. I saw ya, horse. Maybe you could help me, huh? What are you looking for in this place? You don't sound like you're from the north. I want to make sure there are no undead crawling around. I need to get to know the peninsula if I'm going to patrol it. I'm short in dragon bones. I wanted to see if there was anything left behind. I was wondering what caused this place to collapse. I've heard about some bandits. They could have a hideout nearby, looking for another Roadwarden, a man known as Styrian. That's not your problem. Oh, that's very rude to say. I'm going to ask, one by one. He nods. I've seen none. People say it's been less than 10 years since the herds came here. Well, don't know if anyone bothered with raising the price. If not, the dead are all roaming in the forest now. He clicks his tongue with frustration. It may be that there is a walker somewhere under the debris, waiting to break through like a dragon in an egg. He looks straight at you. Aye, you'd better not dig. Listen. He scratches his thighs nervously. I'm hungry. So damn hungry. I can't hunt or fish with all the ape men around. Can you share anything, Roadster? I may be drifter. Wouldn't back if I had lost my bags on the road. Take the cereals and crackers with some water. You'll have a crew. Lie, I'm sorry, I don't have anything. I need to save it for myself. I may have something later on. With the fish, yeah. Just my luck, I tell ya. He clicks his tongue. Well, I like to shoot down a bird or two tomorrow. I'm saving my balls for the ape man, and because of those stinkers, I can't even roast anything, and raw meat makes me want to puke. A long sigh. Everything's shit, stranger. So if you have question, ask. I'll say a lot to make you get me out of here. I should ask him what he wants. Where do you want to travel to now? And what will you give me for my help? This village makes me sick. Tell me about yourself. I brought you some food. How do you keep the goblins away? Have you researched the entire village? Are there no hidden treasures left? Do you have any idea what happened here? I'm very curious. Well, I won't guess, but I saw many ruins. There is no treasure and skeletons here, so this place means as much as dirt. Someone was barking too loud, so the beast broke through and made them quiet again. He clicks his tongue. That's talking about teenagers brings bad luck, don't you know? Where do you want to travel to now? Let me explain first. I I was in Haldersdale, the closest village to the east and north, and people, they are nice, not like old Pagos. They're all boring and grimmer than a crow, but they cry coin for everything and damn good coin. I left, wanted to look around the ruins, see if there's anything left, then moved to Pelt and the hunters to help me here. No luck. A bunch of griffs jumped my pack bird. I just brought it. He spits on the floor. Fast and nimble, but not brave enough to listen to me when all that screeching and scratching started. So it ran away with my bags. A few fell on the ground and I pulled them here, but you see how it is. I won't travel around with a tent on my back. He taps the crossbow with his fingers. I need maybe a day more. Just a day, and I'll have all the iron scrapped from the barrels so I can move forward. Bull can't take all my stuff alone, and without me around, the ape men are going to break in and steal all my shit. I need to stay here, but since you have a horse, come back tomorrow and help me return to Haldersdale. How about it? I just need to know that this road is safe as it can be, I mean. What exactly do you want me to do? I need you to make sure there's no danger hiding on the road from here to Howlers. Or rather, I know there's some danger, but as long as you can get there and safely return, I'm sure we can handle some roaming monsters. He theatrically rubs his hand together. This ballista has more beast skulls than I have fingers, and I've never lost a finger, Roadster. Only the toes. Maybe to prove it, he starts to count on his fingers. So, see if the road there is clear. Then come here tomorrow. We'll pack my stuff on your horse and move out. But don't come within when it's close to evening. We're going to need 3 hours on our feet, and I won't push through the night. Even sleeping next to an ape-man trap is safer. And don't make me wait for too long. I can't wait for a couple of days. If I find some food, but if you don't get back, I'll have to risk it no matter what. Why Hallersdale though? If you want to go south, we should travel to Pelt of the North. I mean, I'd see your point, but I've never been there. Can they afford my iron? Do they have means to pay for it? I need coins to find a handy bunch that will walk south with me, and I need a new staff and bolts. I know the village, it's a nice place, and even has a smithy of sorts. I had a chance to take a look though. It's a large inn, a safe one. They seem to be rich and have enough hunters to guide you south. You can use iron to barter. Well, it's a shorter path, I guess, fewer spots to get surrounded by corpse. If you're sure it's the best option, fine. I'll trust Roadster's judgments. But I don't work for free. I have ways to pay ya, don't you worry. I can give you dragons. We'll have to sell the iron first. I'll need a bit of time, you see. 5 a short escort would be plenty. I'd say, if you want, I'll give you a secret jar of mine. A few fine mixture that scares ape-men away. Works on babblers too. When you ask if all the stench of urine is somehow related to his potion, just winks and chuckles. I also like to learn more about the villagers he visited. He seems surprised. I mean, sure, I don't have connections. They're, just my eyes. He starts to hum. A longer pause. When you get to Howlers, you'll meet the mayor there for sure. Dice. And whatever you do, don't ask her where she got her coins from, She's rich, stupid rich. But don't ask her how this happened. Trust me. He scratches his beard with a mournful look. Fine, it's a deal. I'm going to escort you. I need to think about it. This village makes me sick. Well, if you won't help me, I'll save myself. He scratches the scars on his cheek. But don't leave me here, Roadster. Just come get me tomorrow. It's easy dragons for you. Me too, in the guts and the thinker. Gets easier with the time if you're patient. Must be the air, the smell of death. Death and ape-man piss. He pats his stomach while laughing. Tell me about yourself. He gives you a sullen glance. What for? I have no legacy to keep alive in tales. I may tell you this and that after you take me out of here. I brought you some foods. Have you searched the entire village? Are there no hidden treasures left? You came to the wrong place. Time, moisture, and the damn boars devoured all the loot.
I've been here for a couple of days now, and all that's left is this iron I carried here. I was planning to get back here with some hired muscle and clear the collapsed buildings, but out it's worth the time and risk.
I've heard about some bandits. Have you seen any hideouts nearby?
Nah, I think they're in the north or east. I stuck to the western road and no shall bother me. Sorry, can't help ya.
I'm looking for another Roadwarden.
I never met him, but surely heard this name many times. He vanished long before I got to the coast. At first, people were asking about him. Now they think he's dead.
Time for me to leave. I return to the scavengers camp to explore the southeast part of this village. You find a small backyard. The ground is beaten. The grass grows only right next to the buildings. Would have been a fair spot for training dancers and fighters. The stakes of the palisade are covered with playful carvings left by children who were portraying monsters, weapons, and humans. The rubble has been pushed into the corners of the houses. The furniture is broken, but you find something of use in one of the piles, a slightly rusty piece of steel. Once you pull it out, you realize it's a quarrel for crossbows, still usable. That's super nice. It won't be difficult to find use for it. The closer you are to the village and the longer you stay around, the sicker you feel. The taste of gastric juices hits your mouth. I did this once, and I don't want to make myself more dirty, so walk far away from the walls. Leaning on your mount, you go outside, keeping your mouth shut. After a few minutes, your eyes get clearer. It may be better to leave, or at least to stay away from the village for the rest of the day. Maybe, page of southeast, southwest. These two are missing, though. You don't find a single sign of the livestock that lived here in the past. Any bones, horns, antlers, or dung have already been devoured by the wilderness. The pasture ends at the river. On the opposite bank, the meadow turns into a thick forest, impenetrable for a rider. What are the chances that a herd of defenseless animals could get there and survive? The breach in the southern fence wasn't made for some brute force. You find X cuts in the spots that were ultimately broken away. After all these years, there are no tracks that you could follow. I return to the main road, but we're still missing the southwest. There you go. You're surrounded by woods look like your fields, plowed in late autumn, disturbed by hundreds of rains and snowfalls. There's a few clumps of grass and weeds, but a place like this one, abandoned for years, should already have turned itself into green lea. A barren field? Maybe it was overused, but you could still expect two weeds to sprout, of course. Occurs. The path leading west from here ends at the edge of the field, shifting into a meadow, then a forest. I don't have a way to investigate. I mean, we could use orb pneuma. I'm gonna do that. You unpack the wooden spheres, pleasantly smooth and light. The entire set fits in the palm of your hand. You place them in various spots, marking their positions by sticking a branch in the soil. All you can do now is wait, so you brush Lily for a bit and make sure the saddle doesn't bother it. When you return to gather your amulets, all of them are much warmer than your skin. The entire field is corrupted. Though seeing how there are already some plants growing from it, the spell is fading away. The curse is most likely as old as the last harvest. I walk away. I need these amulets to cool off. Alright. I will return another day then. Consider washing myself. I can't really do. So I'm gonna travel. So we're done with this area. We can go more to the west, but we need to be careful that we're not going too far away because it's probably getting evening. You enter the wetlands with their many streams. Ponds and fish, large birds run and fly between the grey, sparse trees that are covered with moss, mushrooms, and critters. For human, it may be an unwelcoming and harsh realm, but the overwhelming swarms of insects prove that it's a realm full of life. The danger with teeth and claws is hidden below the water surface. I stay away from the banks. This plant shouldn't be alive, not without leaves. It doesn't resemble the other trees of the wetlands. It's something else. You get off your horse and prepare your axe. The water is filled with dirt and dead plants, and it smells like an old corpse. The roots are spreading far, breaking through the water's surface. You don't see any saurians in the grass or on the shore. You approach the table-like altar made of 3 limestone slabs. Were these rocks originally as formless as they are now, or was there a point in time, centuries ago, when they were precisely shaped and decorated by masters of artistry? There is no way to tell. Lily is peaceful, observing the dark grass and slapping flies with his tail. Whatever it is that you feel in the air, it's clear that your companion sees this place through very different eyes. I smile and scratch the bottom of its neck. Go ahead. I look around for just a moment. I know there are dark forces hidden in the air. I ask. The right for a vigilant eye and a bright soul. You bow your head, trying to imagine an unappropriate ritual. Whenever you start a thought, it runs away to the sounds of insects, vision of the predators, smells of the muddy water. You rub your hands, focusing on what's in your grasp, collecting your wits slowly. It takes a few moments, but you start breathing without sensing the stench. You arrange all the chaotic images into cohesive utterance. Your prayer is brief, but once it's done, you feel prepared. Approach the altar. There's clumpy dirt in the uneven nicks, fused by years of winds and rains. The bottom surface of the table is dusty, but you don't find any spiderwebs or molds, even though it's the perfect spot for them. The tree roots clinch to the altar in many spots. They're firmly attached. You struggle to move them even by an inch. The cream-colored limestone is cold and smooth. I'm very curious. I'm just going to do it one more time. I'm going to use my pneuma. You unpack the wooden spheres, pleasantly smooth and light. The entire set fits in the palm of your hands. You place them in various spots on the altar next to the roots. Beneath it and a few steps away on the boulder, you begin the ritual, after which all you can do is wait. You go for a walk with Lily, making sure there are no monsters in your vicinity. When you return to collect your amulets, only the one placed on the rock hasn't changed its temperature. The others are cold. The closer they are to the tree roots, the cooler they are, almost painfully so. This is not what was supposed to happen. If the objects are filled with magic, the spheres get warmer. If not, they stay in their original state. But this? You've never seen such a reaction. The cream-colored limestone is cold and smooth. The tree is perfectly still and hasn't changed a bit since the first time you saw it. Make an offering? What is your sacrifice? Example, food. Oh, I need to use my keyboard to name objects that you're interested in. Oh, okay, I'm just going to say food in this case. You place any type of food you can find in your sacks or on the nearby plants, but none of them seem to make any difference. Huh. Okay, I think I need to figure this out. Let's look at the water then. Into the water. You step cautiously without knowing how deep it gets. You have to consider that a saurian could be camouflaged in the mud, waiting for a victim to get near. Since you don't plan to kneel down and drink, you're hoping to dodge a potential strike. Once you get closer, you start breathing again. While the water is dirty, it's also shallow. You see the vegetation, swimming insects, even small fish, all of them away from the tree roots, which looks like a spider web covering the bottom of the pond. Aside from that, you don't see anything that would catch your attention. I take a closer look at the roots. You kneel in front of the one that's lying on the shore. It's brown. Cover the hair that resembles that on your arm. When you touch it, it's moist, soft and warmer than you'd expect. I do something with it. What do you do? Try to do? Example cake. Just touch it. Alright, this is also not gonna work. I guess I probably need to figure it out first. That means I will travel further. I just wonder if I'm traveling too far away, and I really wonder how big this map is. You slow down. Among the shrubs, a small pack of dragon lynx is feasting on the carcass of a grey rock. One of them with red feathers on its arms straightens up and gives you a curious glance. Its head tilts left and right, forward and back. It screeches at you, but doesn't move forward and return to its meal. You wonder what would happen if you were on foot. Would they let you be satisfied with their prey? Would they run after you? But if so, For what reason? For now you have enough space to move forward, yet stay safe. Your powerful jaw breaks the monster's bones loudly, then bite off and swallow chunks of meat. I ride forward, but I keep my distance and look over my shoulder. A new place? The beaten road serves your palfrey well. The forest to your left becomes sparse and brighter, and there are dozens of human-made paths among the fruit-bearing trees. On your right, there is a large pasture with at least a dozen massive mauve lawns. 2 of them already sheared look comically small. Soon after that, you ride alongside vast, flourishing fields filled with rye, still green, preparing itself patiently for the second harvest. The path ends with a massive wooden gate. The stone wall separating you from the glow of it lights behind it isn't as tall as the roof, but you can't imagine climbing into its top. There are pretty much no cracks, no missing bricks, a sign of many hours of labor, especially considering how massive the settlement is, as wide as the city district. The birds and monkeys are now just a distant echo, replaced with the sound of carts, running, hammers, saws, laughter and shouts. Finally, maybe I can rest here. I don't feel comfortable in large settlements. Let's get this over with. I'm curious. A young man is leaning against the coast gate, covered by its shadow. He's young, tanned, and has a short, elegantly trimmed red beard. Beneath a green gamson, he wears an expensive tunic decorated with colorful trim. From his arms hang a steel helmet, though the metal is so thin that it's mostly made of wool and leather. He moves into the light and takes on the posture of a disciplined soldier, not a mercenary. He's standing upright. With his chin up, there are 2 weapons on the ground. Leaning on the wooden beams of the gate, an axe made of steel, and a wooden club. He doesn't reach for either. You dismount smoothly, still having some vigor left. Lily holds its tail high. A narrow path leads north towards 2 fields workers, one with a hoe and one with a pitchfork. They wave to you. You can't see their faces, but their clothes are simple, grey pants and vests made from hemp and wool. I wave back, why not? I better keep some distance, just approach the guards, and let's wave back. They talk for a bit, looking toward you and pointing at your mount, then walk away, disappearing behind the wall's corner. The guard smiles, he avoids your eyes, and has to clear his throat before he speaks. Welcome, traveler. If you're near here to make trouble, Howlersdale welcomes you. We have the whitest flower here there is. When he bows, you realize it's well-practiced performance. If it's new garments you're looking for, you can order everything you need here right here, in all colors, shapes, and sizes, capes, boots, vests, robes, or if you yourself a master of the needle, I can assure you we have the fabric you're looking for. His act is over, and he glances at your mount in a moment of silence. His eyes get wider as he observes it with a childlike fascination. This is Lily. It helps me patrol the roads. You can pet its side if you want, but no sun movements. I mean, you know, Roadwarden, I want to see your mayor. He follows the instruction. Even though your palfrey pays no attention to the man's careful touch, the guard grins widely. I'm Mimi. A city folk, eh? The mayor's busy, but I'll ask her. Give us a moment to let you in. He knocks at the gate, which is then pulled inwards by 2 other guards, a man and a woman wearing their own gamsons, similarly green but tailor-made to match their figures. The nearby buildings are simple houses made of wooden beams and covered with thatch, while the storehouse is even more modest, with a roof made of planks. The watchtower is a ladder made of ropes and sticks, no stairs. Just give me a moment. The guard strides away from before he finished the last words. The other closed the gate behind you and observed your mount carefully. Your eyes run east to Humming Creek, running through the center of the village. I wait for the return of the messenger. Coming soon, huh? That's Howler's Creek. The guard, like most of the locals, is taller than you. Wide but shallow. There's been a flood in years. Pa told me there used to be bridges. The neighbors crossed it with the boots in their hands. And this clean lucky raindrop, but there are the many fishes. We're the cleanest village in the north, her companion chuckles brightly. When the guard returns, he's still alone. She can come now. A friend of mine is in labor, aye? The mayor wants to be there when the child arrives, but I was asked to show you the village. Fine. He approaches the watchtower. Tie him out here, we'll keep the kids away. Most of the neighbors are getting ready to celebrate. Once you're done, he grabs the rope ladder. The view from up there is gorgeous. Climb after him. I nod and think of my knife. It's a trap. I'll get him first. Hopefully not. Even though the ladder swings in all directions, the guards gets to the top quickly, like a monkey climbing up creepers. He, on the other hand, needs to stop and wait for the ladder to calm itself. When you join the man on the wooden platform, you're a bit dizzy. He's leaning the wooden parapet, observing the area with a smile. I look around. See? The ney plays like Holler's Dell. The guard points in every direction, giving you no time to contemplate. For the next few minutes, he describes the fields and the crops, the flocks and the pastures, and the shepherds inspecting the fences, the ancient garden of trees and bushes, lodges in the village itself, the sunlight dancing on the stream to its own tune. If you are to believe everything he describes, this place has access to everything in abundance. The sweetest honey, the most stretched bread, the softest wool, and the beer, this excellent. He sounds like a city merchant who's trying to sell an old house. What's an annoying kid? Near Halloween, you could find 5 larger and richer settlements in less than 2 days. No wonder if he's so proud. Why wouldn't he be? They tame this scrap of land and live in comfort. The islet in the middle connects both parts of the village. According to the man, the northern gate is hardly ever opened, as it leads nowhere now. Near the eastern gate, there is the Ape Ale Inn, where you can find a bed and victuals, and the stall where Akakios rewards our work, unless we annoy him with pointless talk. He lets out a chuckle. On the opposite side of the creek, there's another white house. It belongs to Bayan, the best clothier in the north. The priests live in the southeast, near the wall, but they do not talk to strangers. You also hear about the hunters, the coopers, the fishers, the miller, the pie maker lives with a sister, the baker, the smith and her husband, the carpenter live with their kids. Some of the larger buildings could accommodate 2, maybe even 3 generations at once. There could be more than 100 dwellers here. He considers stopping his speech, but he suddenly points at the islet again. There, see? The mayor's coming, the one wearing purple. You're free to join her, traveler. I nod and climb down. You try to get down quickly, but 2 steps are enough to make you sure that it's a bad idea. You wait for the ladder to find its balance. You are relieved when you touch the ground again. You untie your palfrey and follow the guard. You pass a small pastorate surrounded by a wooden fence, a few loose chickens and tethered boar. The fancy buildings are covered with whitewash coating and surrounded by vegetables, herbs and flowers. The bridges are wide enough to carry even a wagon, but for Lily, walking in the wooden beams is far from pleasant. The islet is empty, but you notice an empty stall, painted with the shapes of colorful flowers. I walk over the second bridge. Along the entire path, you notice more and more people observing you, smiling or casually greeting you as they're focused on their own tasks. Finally, you reach the main square. A large tree grows in the center, surrounded by dark water held together by the thin wall, perfect for sitting, but the smell coming from the liquid makes you think of rotten eggs. The plant reminds you of the tree you saw in the south next to the swamp altar. In the north, you see the Ape Ale Inn. Judging by the tables, stools and benches outside of it, it's open for guests. The villagers are chatting and dining loudly, and you catch their curious glances on the side of the dining area. The merchant is arguing with a tall, broad-shouldered worker, and an old man is sitting by himself, eating a pie with a walking stick leaning against the table. A young woman is cleaning the empty mugs in the creek, speaking with a man at least twice her age, maybe her father. I need to spot Tithella Lily. There's a white wooden roof next to the gate that shelter carts, crates and sacks. You move your mount next to a donkey to a beam placed here just for this purpose. Without a moment of hesitation, Lily starts to chew on his nearby haystack. You have some time to make sure it doesn't struggle with your bound bundles. You turn to the inn. I look for the mayor and approach her. She's sitting on a chair with a 4-year-old boy on her knees. She is holding his hand gently, showing him how to eat gruel from a bowl. It's not a cheap meal though. It's but nuts, berries and milk, and added honey makes it yellowish. The kid is clean and quiet, and once he notices your arrival, he cramps his mouth with a spoonful of oats. Now, love, the mayor titters. Do not get distracted. She rubs the meal off his face. A few more spoons and you'll go. Help Papa in the kitchen, eh? He gives you red eyes through, though apologetic smile, then turns her attention back to the companion. Observe her more closely. Her long, full-sleeved linen dress must have been dyed once in blue and once in red to achieve its dark, fancy purple, which would draw looks even in Halloween. From her left shoulder hangs a green woolen cape, as thin as a shawl. The brown belt in her waist has a large steel buckle that portrays a running deer with unrealistically large antlers, growing in all directions like tree branches. Unlike her tribefolk, she's pale, with powdered and rouged cheeks, and the lips match her outfit, though they're a bit closer to wine red. The thick, grey strands in her long, blonde hair look more like a fashion choice than a result of aging. Her eyes are the color of her cape, keen and vigorous. She's shorter than most people around, though, would still be the tallest woman in most of the northern settlements. While she's around 40, her slim hands add fragility to her appearance, even though her posture is upright, her legs confidently crossed, and her delicate voice assertive. She makes plenty of gestures, but her shoulders hardly ever move. I wait for as long as it takes. I need no invitation. I sit down on a bench. No, I'm gonna wait. After a few more minutes, the boy let out a gentle cough, and after a pat on the back, the mayor puts him on the ground. You did a great job, love, but now I need to talk with our guest, darling. She addressed on one of her in-worker, a girl close to 15. Take him to father, will you? Her tone suddenly gets firmer, leaving no hint of a question or suggestion. Yes, ma, she responds. Oh, wait, she's 15. Yes, ma, she responds, with her hair and her eyes are nothing like those of her brother, neither of the kids resembling their mother. So we have a Roadwarden here, again. Please sit down. She vaguely shows you the palm of her open hand, letting you pick any place you want. Since I'm a guest, I sit on bench next to her. I sit on the stool opposite her. I'm here as a trade partner. You have a good look at the inn's front door, leading to a cellar-like ground floor. It's dark with crates and barrels covered with fruits, nuts and vegetables. The actual inn is upstairs, but the only people who go in or out are the workers, most of whom are teenagers. The mayor observes your outfit carefully, at first looking as if she just ate an onion, but then puts on a polite smile. Once your eyes meet, she hardly ever looks away. I'm sure you're hungry. My husband will bring us something soon. No food is free. I'm not hungry. Oh, I'm super hungry. I appreciate it. Do not mention it. Hunger makes me peevish, and the day is too nice for that. She taps her chest and looks at a flock of birds that fly above you loudly, heading south. As we're waiting, be so good as you to help me understand something. Eva, if you're but a mercenary, I can't imagine a single reason for you to choose this realm for your wardening. Not so long after Asterian's disappearance. There's no glory or treasures to find here. Her pale fingers form a tent on her stomach, then clasp, leaving the forefingers pointing at you. You were sent here by the merchants. They want the peninsula. I present Halloween's interests as an opportunity. You introduce yourself and touch on the more obvious side of the potential deal with the guild and the city chief, the troops, their pay and patrols they would establish. The overview of Texas, trade routes would bring new life to this place. You try to sound warm. It's a win-win. Throughout your speech, the mayor observes you patiently, without interruptions. I see, she finally responds. As she observes you paraphrase, she twists her deer buckle left and right, left and right. If it was that simple, I'd be eager to applaud, but it never is that simple, is it? Her eyes fill up with melancholy, despite her smile. I appreciate that you're coming with a carrot, not a stick, but when it comes to the guild, there is always a catch. Her accent is now almost identical to the ones used in the city. What sort of catch? I'm telling you everything I know. I can't ask you to trust me, but I'm not hiding anything. You don't have to trust anyone blindly. The negotiations can safely satisfy both sides. Even if I were eager to put trust in the words of a stranger, your honesty has nothing to do with the truth necessarily. It doesn't put me in an easy position, as you can imagine. Here, listen to this trick I learned about during my studies. She theatrically clears her throat, patting her chest with one hand and covering her mouth with another, then leans forward and rests on her elbow, allowing her hands to freely make gestures. You make a deal with the settlement. Flour and wool in exchange for coins and tools. You send the first traders, and they imply that you are ready to pay more for, let's say, parchment. A month later, you want no more rye, just the parchment and wool. We cannot butcher any more mufflins, the locals say. Don't worry, you answer. We sent you a small flock. Just turn one of your fields into a pasturage. As she pretends to speak as a different character here, her voice comically shifts, and she has no issue switching between accents. I encourage her with a kind smile. She swings her hand above the table. Another year goes by, and while there's more parchment, the village lacks some crops. The tribe needs not just tools and coins, plenty of coins, but also seeds, and the guild is not satisfied. Sending all wagons costs a lot, and there are more highwaymen now. If you want us to come again, you need more mufflins, and to sell us their cheese. And guess what? With a haunting laugh, she straightens up and spreads her arms like someone a third her age. Turns out that the village can't say no more. They lack supplies, seeds, and land. They can't refuse. I know she's right, and it's better not to say anything stupid. Don't you think the city would see value in keeping you strong? If you risk with them? Smile. I've no doubt that a smart leader like yourself is going to protect your people from these games. Oh, how wonderful. Keep the compliments coming. No soul in the square reacts to her loud laughter. But all that doesn't mean I can counter every single city ploy on my own. That's the good thing about living here, with these kind people all around us. She nods toward the two little girls that are carrying a basket filled with vegetables between them. If some of us struggle, we all have to deal with the consequences. We all struggle, but we all benefit. But Halloween? If they see profit in chopping off our arms, they'll sell them to the first bidder. She gives you a sad glance, but cheers up after a sigh. Let's finish the introductions. I'm Thais, one of the keepers of the Abel Inn and the mayor of the Holdersdale. I assume it would be convenient for you to take my answers back to Halloween. She wonders for a moment. Say, when could we expect the first Karen? After winter? It depends on what you can sell and what you want in return. While the conversation goes on, the food gets served. The refreshing aroma of roasted muttons covered with a thick sauce made of mint, parsley, and honey tempts you to bite in right away. The juices are sinking into the round trencher, a plate made of simple brown bread. There is also a small bowl filled with chopped red radish and sliced boiled egg, and a mug filled with cold buttermilk. It's all brought by a few young people, all of them referring to the mayor as their mother. And in the end, the innkeeper himself shows up to wish you a good meal. He's wearing a clean orange tunic and not so clean apron made of hemp. He politely introduced himself as Eric's, and after confirming you won't get sick from what he prepared, he leaves you and his wife to your conversation. Thais tears the meat into smaller pieces, then eats slowly, often expressing her enjoyment with a hum. Meanwhile, we get to the important stuff. Sounds like a nearby ground is fertile. The village would gladly pay its taxes in grain and vegetables with the expectation that a squad of soldiers would provide additional protection. Our youth is strong, she claims proudly, so we don't need your guards on our walls. But a lone Roadwarden won't keep the roads passable. We need fighters willing to patrol the path, maybe even the heart of the woods. That's what we'd expect in return. You're not an expert when it comes to the linen, cheese, and wool, so the mayor spends a good couple of minutes describing the outstanding quality of what the village has to offer, especially the clothes, which are meant to be as unique as those made by Masters Crispus. You vaguely recognize the name of this tailor shoemaker, but you never earned enough to pay him for as much as single sleeve. And of course, you will never reject some of steel and bronze. We lack alloys or sickles in size. She then repeats her question about starting a trade route. Truth be told, the guild is not sure what the peninsula has to offer. It's going to take more than your village to convince them. Understandable, but you won't find much in the other tribes. They have barely enough to survive, even after they trade for crops. For we have the only decent soil in this realm. At least the people of Gay Rocks have salt and barrels of fish, while creeks sell meat and wood. Actually, if you haven't been in Creekside, the farthest village in the northeast, you could give them a chance. She nods with a smile. They could use your help with keeping their roads safe. Wide marshes, on the other hand, as well as old pagas, are though close to worthless. For a trade route, that is. She clears her throat. After these words, she stands up, walks to another table, and offers a trencher to an elderly man who sits there by himself. With a trembling voice, he thanks her, then starts to chew on the soggy bread. She sits down, wipes her hand into a clean cloth, adjusts the folds of her cape, and once again crosses her legs. So tell me, Mimi, how's Holland? I haven't gathered much news since the invasion. Things stay humble, but are starting to look brighter. The harbour is full of life, and the kids grow strong. Sometimes better, sometimes worse. Not everyone has their own bad, but the new generation is ready to start their own fight. It's far from great. Children who lost their parents during the war have no trade in hand. There's not enough settlements to send them away. Many people are unable to prosper. So this is very positive, middle, and very negative. And I was afraid it was lost to hunger. Her chuckle is trimmed with scorn. Good to know, I was wrong. When the invasion started, some merchants were cheering in their houses, happy that they would sell out all the blades and food they had restored. Can you believe it? This panic will make us rich. She imitates the voice of a pompous man. That's why when the southerners reached the villages, they found almost nothing to eat, she sighs. Staying in a remote peninsula truly can be a blessing. She pauses, hesitant to go on, then shakes her head slightly. Well, we can't change the past. How can I help you, Mimi? I'm looking for a Asterion. She stares you in the eyes, then turns toward Lily. Is your pal free, mare? We have 2 jacks. Could use some mules. A stallion, so it won't give you anything stronger than a thinny. It is, but I need it to stay strong and healthy. I'm looking for a Asterion. I heard you, but he's not welcome here. Her voice is harsh, and I don't know where he went. We haven't burned him. I found his awoken shell. Wherever he is. A long pause. It's not our problem. What are his wrongdoings? If you have to know, he failed and won't get a second chance. He was meant to escort Egidia, a daughter of mine, to her betrothed in Gale Rocks. She was a great archeress, and the road from here to the coast is not that dangerous. When they saw goblins on the road, Asterion ordered her to push through, right into their trap. She touches her deer-shaped buckle. They got jumped like a bunch of wealthy pilgrims. A Roadwarden worth their gruel should know better. He can fight with a blade, but my girl? She never had a chance. She sighs and looks at the gate. He disappeared soon after his pitiful attempt at apologizing to me, and we closed our doors behind him for good. I'll let you know if he ever tries to return. Any ideas where I can find him? She just her escape with an annoyed shrug. Try asking for him in the north. He spent most of this time between the white marshes, Gale Rocks, and creeks. Here, he wasn't that eager to share his plans. Did you ever find your daughter? For a few breaths, her green eyes seek something in your face. Her words are careful, yet hesitant. She's with the fox now. The goblins were after food, so they carried her shell away. One day, she's going to charge at our walls, awoken and empty. Even though she was a bit mawkish, her heart was strong and patient. She listened to people, was ready to help them and to cry with them. I could tell you stories, but what for? Let the dead rest. You have a good, quite big family. She titters weakly. At one point, there were 12 kids living in our house. 9 girls, 3 boys. They come and go as it should be. If you're already with the forest, but most of all grown now, even started their own families. She looked away at a girl, wiping spilled milk with a wet cloth. To be perfectly clear, they aren't exactly our children. It's a custom of our village for the mayor to look after the orphans. Thankfully, Eric's has a big heart and much more patience than I do. As she speaks, her smile widens. Why did you let him leave? He didn't do anything well, forbidden by our laws. He was simply stupid and cannot be trusted, but this isn't Halloween. We have no rich folk to dread. We treat each other fairly. Lost in her thought, she rubs the neckline of her dress. One good thing I can say about him is that he didn't try to justify his decisions or to avoid the consequences, but I'd rather have him prove first he can do what's asked of him. Thanks for the help. I wonder, back in Halloween, did you spend any time in Backwood Corner? It used to be this dark, dirty alley with muggers working even in the daylight. I stayed there with Octavia the miller in exchange for doing chores for her. She had a small wooden hut. Since the war, even the soldiers have avoided that street. People say it's home for thugs. You wouldn't recognize it. It's now a respectable street with one of the fancy scents in the city. The apple and the boar. It would make you feel like you're in the old days. The boar head inn is almost 50 years old now. There's no such street anymore. It fell through the Great Fire. I have no idea, actually. I have no idea what happened. I'm just gonna say this. You tell about the riots that happened 2 years after the invasion, led by hungry, ill people with no place to go. You describe briefly the streets that have risen from the ashes, but it doesn't spark interest. I can't say I miss that place, but it's weird to think that such a strong memory is no longer a part of reality. Like a tree that you've walked by 1,000 times, and one day it's been cut down. She sits silent, absently observing your lips. What would it take to make you consider joining Halloween? I can consider it right now. Well, she laughs, her eyes remain keen. But if you want to give your somewhat more answers, let's see. She looks up and to the right, theatrically raising her hand to the chin. Some gestures of goodwill would be a great start. Since you are the good messenger, I'll need you to know you can be relied on. She gives you a wide grin. And that's only the first step, I assume. Of course. Do you even have the power to handle tax negotiations? She scoffs loudly. Your head shake. Do enough for my village and I'll hand you a beautiful signed letter. A list of all the things my neighbors are looking for, as well as what they can give in return. Your superiors are going to see more than enough to prepare their offer. She rubs her hands. I think that's fair. Yeah, looks like we're in agreement. Do enough for my village is a bit vague. She nods toward the people gathered by the table. I'm not the ruler of this place. My friends trust me because I see things as they are, and I'm willing to act. Prove that you're helpful, and they'll be happy to match your efforts. I want you to succeed. She puts her hand on her chest. But we don't give strangers more than we can get from them. If you want me to argue in your favor, show us your worth. Well, looks like we're having an agreement then. Perfect. One more thing, though. She puts her elbows on the table, leaning closer to you. If you go behind my back, I'm not going to wait for a dagger. I'll end you first. She rests her chin against her open palm, giving you a disarmingly warm smile. I'm sure people already know that we have a new Roadwarden. Maybe ask around to see if anyone needs your help. The more my neighbors trust you and need you, the more willing they offer to help you, you better pay. Well, let's start here. What can I do for you? So kind of you to ask, but before I ask you to run, let's see how you can walk, shall we? Her eyes wander left and right, and she gestures for nearby guards to move away. He nods, then gestures a few other souls to follow him. While a few of the locals cast curious looks at you, they turn away as quickly as you notice them. The mayor's shiny green eyes are still locked on you, and her voice is close to a whisper. Since Asterian's disappearance, there's little trade on the roads and not much new roaches us. Be so kind. Her flirtatious tone distracts you with a hold, obviously fake it is, and help me learn some interesting tales about our neighbors. I smile back at her. You mean ones that weren't meant to reach you? I'm not a spy. See, I knew that deep down you're a true sage. She titters and straightens up, adjusting her cape without haste. Do you have something to share? The soldiers who came here in spring were meant to find a good spot for a new outpost. The squad that made camp at the southern crossroad is now nothing more than 2 people. They plan to return to Halloween before fall. That's all I have to say. What information am I going to share here? Do I want to share an information? She smiles widely. You don't say. Knowing that, I'll prepare a few very tempting suggestions for the officials. After she seals her lips, she still lets her a quiet chuckle. The squad made camp at the southern... Nah, that's everything I have to say now. Tell me, how do people dress in the city these days? Is it similar to what we have here? Before the war, the merchants were wearing those really long dresses and robes, way too long for my taste. They got mud stains after every rain, and I see no reason to keep shoes completely hidden. Not anymore. There's always a shortage of fabric. Most people wear tunics like in the old days. For years, there was not enough hemp and wool at hand, so people have started to wear furs again. As far as I can tell, many folks wear headgear. I'm not sure. I don't pay much attention to fashion. Maybe it's this one, the first one. Now that's just sad. When I was there, only the monks wore them for some reason. I have no doubt that the vengeful beast have thrown the roads into a nightmare. The city folk would be smarter putting on rags, even though she sighs. There's a cruel satisfaction in her smile. Have you heard of the necromancers of the north? Oh, she taps her fingers on the table. Yes, I have. After you ask her to tell you more, she seems to regain her confidence. You mean wide marshes for sure. I don't know all that much about what's happening there. We avoid their lands if we can. She frowns. I shouldn't gossip about it with strangers. We can talk about it on another occasion. You seem to be fairly well off, even more so than the other people in the village. What's your secret? She reaches for a buckle, and her voice grows cold. There is no secret, traveler. There is hard work, risk, and sacrifices in support of those that care about me. The good things that happen to me shine on my people that just as much. Just think about it before you mention it again. She adjusts her cape. Tell me about Howler's Dell. It is what it seems like, the greatest village in the far north. She raises her hand and makes an inviting gesture. Though I hoped to still improve this and that. She winks at you, but it is suddenly interrupted by the pained cry of a little boy who hurt his knee during a fall. As an amused elder tries to calm him down, the mayor shrugs it off and titters, then meets your eyes again. Life's good here. We have what we need and a lot of what we want, building on top of more than 12 generations of hard work, bravery. She spends a good few minutes telling you about mufflins, wheat, rye, ham, cheese, and wool. Didn't we have this already? Mr. Texa, once she's done it, I not politely, I think so. We talk and talk, but I still don't know where you're from, Mimi. What's your story? Have you lived in Holland your entire life? In a way, I know it is as well as any other city folk, but every spring I trained in horsemanship is nearby village. Only for a bit. I was raised in a small village just nearby and moved to the city after I decided to look for a look as a Roadwarden. My past is already buried. Let's not dig into it. To see the city for the first time after being surrounded by a couple of small houses and fields, it's a strange feeling, isn't it? She puts her hand on the table. Even after my second winter there, I felt like a stranger. But those who know how to live in the countryside, close to the wilderness, will always find a way home for ourselves, don't you think? She gives you an encouraging smile. I was in the ruined village south from here. Her tense gaze shifts into an awkward click of her tongue as she leans away from you. I don't even want to think about their tragic fate. No one can negotiate with the wealth of their herds. A long pause. And I better not find you upsetting my neighbors with these sad questions. It was a challenging time for all of us. A wound we won't forget. What do you think about the scavenger who was here before? Ah, he's still alive, she says with distaste. He brought us some news from the north and paid off his debt for us, but he's an idler and a prattler. Drinks too. The farther away he stays from here, the better. I was impelled of the north. The innkeeper feels uneasy about Glacier's band. I saw a weird tree from... Oh yeah, this one. She straightens up and raises her chin. You mean Beholder, the guardian spirit of our wetlands. Every fall we bring it our gifts, and in return it provides us with blessed fruit. The flesh of the forest. She stares into your eyes. It's older than the oldest books and the oldest thoughts. The druids help us honor its sleep and show us how to ask for itself. Neither of these rituals, she scoffs, would be of all use for you. I was impelled of north. When you mentioned the raids on the northern village, her eyes narrow. Are you sure? It's the first I've heard about it. Glassy has been around since years back, but she's not much of a nuisance. I'm just a messenger. He's asking for you to join forces with him. Well, I can't give you my answer. I won't ask our hunters to endanger their lives with the pursuit of some gossip. I could ask around, learn more about this. Should I tell the innkeeper that you're not interested in collaboration? What a splendid idea! There are only 3 villagers in the north, wide marshes farther north by the western road, Gale Rocks by the northern coast, and creeks in the far east. Bring me news from those places and you will get my answer. I'm paid for passing the message from here to Pelt of the North. Ask me to ride for you through half of the peninsula and back is a different deal entirely. She lets out a brief chuckle, but her eyes observe you carefully. And how much are you being paid if I ask? 2 dragons. And I'll pay you another 2 fair. I'll keep thinking. Surely city folk don't eat just wild game, salt, fish and groats. What animals do people breed in the nearby village? Most ibexes, they do well on the hills. There's a lot of mufflins. The monks need their parchment. Depends mostly upon fish and foe, but some can afford to buy boars. There's barely any meat, so people have started to raise crickets and rats. Whatever people can buy, I guess. I don't need animals when I can avoid it. Oh, Mimi, I believe you. But just indulge me. Listening about the city takes me back to the days when my bones were still strong. Ibexes. So just like in old days. I even saw some of them in the city. They're annoyingly good at climbing onto roofs and walls. But more importantly, she adjusts her dress and smiles. It means that our mufflin cheese and wool are going to be quite a commodity. Do you need my assistance? First, I need to be sure you can handle yourself. Bring me some juicy rumors, won't you? Maybe talk with my neighbors. We could use a few coins or someone who with a steady hand. I bring news about the other parts of the peninsula. She gives you a curious look. Oh, maybe I should say this one, huh? Since they cleared the camp of brigands, they went so quiet. I almost forgot about them. She rubs her chin with her thumb. I'm surprised they've managed to stay alive till this day. Sending such an inexperienced group here shows that the officials misjudged this land. There's lots of lie here. She leans forward, and even though she smiles, her voice is close to a whisper. I wonder why you're here. What pushes someone to become a warden? Just want to help people. If I can make this area safer, I'm going to do it. She waits and expecting that there is more to be said, and lets out a nervous chuckle. Forgive me, it's something I mostly hear from children, not travelers. She observes you with keen eyes, but after another few breaths, shrugs her doubts off. What else do you need? For now, thank you so much for your time. And now we could basically decide where we're gonna go, but she already mentioned that we should help all the not all, but I guess quite a few people here. But I would like to say thank you so much for trying out Roadwarden with me. This is an absolutely fantastic game. I think you can have plenty of hours here. It's like I'm actually choosing my own adventure. And it's been a while doing this. It reminds me so much of Disco Elysium, just with not voice acting, of course, but it's definitely coming from there. But it's probably not the only game. It's just my first association coming up with. It's a really good game, and there you can see this game is a good reminder what good gaming actually means. You don't need good graphics. I'm very much happy with the pixel graphics I'm having here. You really don't need big graphics. You don't need big productions and big effects. I was also never a huge fan of that, but this game is creating a very nice universe you can dive into. It seems like it's a very good RPG, and I could just spend hours here, to be honest. But it's also very exhausting to talk all the time, but I wanted to give a good impression of this game, and I am actually blasted by this one. I would have never thought it's going to be that good, never, but I wanted to prove myself wrong, and I'm just happy I could give this game a try. So I would like to say thank you so much for trying out Roadwarden with me. I really appreciate it. If you like this content, I would appreciate a follow, a like, and otherwise, I'm wishing you guys a very nice day. Thanks for being here.